Chapter 1, Mount Yellow's True Monarch and 9 Provinces, 1, Group. Chapter 1, Mount Yellow's True Monarch and 9 Provinces, 1, Group. The 20th of May, 2019, Monday. At the end of spring and summer's arrival. This season, the temperature difference between the Jiangnan region's day and night was huge. During the day, even if one was wearing shorts he could heat up like a hot dog, yet during the night he had to curl up on his bed, freezing like a cold bird. Jiangnan University City. 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon was exactly the time students started classes. Yet Song Shuhang stayed in his dormitory alone, his computer desk pulled to his bedside, making it convenient for him to watch movies in any posture. Song Shuhang did not have a habit of skipping classes. For the earlier half of last night, the weather was hot and stuffy, so in his dreams he executed a move called Twin Dragon emerging from the seas and knocked over his blanket. During the later half of the night, the air temperature dramatically decreased. With only a pair of shorts on his body, Song Shuhang was forced into bitter hardship. While slumbering away, both his hands strenuously groped the bed, seeking all over, yet he couldn't find the blanket. In the end he could only curl up like a mantis shrimp, shivering in the tyrannical cold of midnight. When the sun rose, Song Shuhang had already become a member of the Great Seasonal Catching Cold Army. His roommate had already helped him apply for time off for today's classes. Afterwards, he took cold medicine and slept till now. The high fever was suppressed, but his body was still weak. In this condition, there was no way he could attend classes. Therefore, he could only stay in the dormitory bored and lonely, and watch movies. On the monitor, the movie's playback bar slowly trickled towards the end, but Song Shuhang was not absorbed into its contents at all. Has the medicine's effect still not worn off? I'm so sleepy. Song Shuhang yawned, he felt his eyelids getting heavy. Suddenly, at the bottom right of the computer screen, the chat application's icon jumped. This meant that someone added him as a friend, or invited him to join a chat group. Who added me? Song Shuhang mumbled. He extended his hand and gently tapped on the bottom right of the computer's touch screen, prompting the notification to appear. Mount Yellow's True Monarch has requested to add you as a friend. Additional information, none. Yellow Mountain's True Monarch? Just who would use such an odd nickname? Is he a student from my class? Song Shuhang wondered silently. He couldn't help but think of the others in his class who clearly were already in university yet were still full of youthful delusions. If it were them, they would definitely pick an odd nickname like this. Once he thought this way, he tapped on Accept. Immediately, what followed was another system notification popping up. Mount Yellow's True Monarch has invited you to join the chat group E9 Provinces, 1, Group, do you accept? Song Shuhang proceeded to tap on Accept. MT Book's Huge Pressure has accepted to join a 9 Provinces, 1, Group. You have agreed to join the group. Please make an introduction of yourself to the other members. There was even a smiley sent by the system. In recent years, these chatting softwares had been becoming more and more human-like. After the chain of notifications popped up, Song Shuhang resolutely closed the notification and the group chats window. He was now filled with sleepiness. Where would he get the energy to care about the group he joined? Anyways, his group chat settings had always been a do not notify new posts, only show numbers unread, messages by the group wouldn't pop up and disturb him, it would only show the total number of new messages in the background. After he wakes up, he could flip open the chat record, then he would know what kind of group he joined, and the chat record would also not be lost. His eyelids got heavier and heavier. The movie's playback bar continued to move forward tenaciously, but Song Shuhang's consciousness got more and more fuzzy. In 9 Provinces, 1, Group, lurkers emerged as soon as they noticed the new member's entry. North River's Loose Practitioner, has the new member that Mount Yellow's True Monarch invited come in yet? It has already been a year since a new member joined, right? Another ID, Su Clanza Chi speedily replied, there's a new fellow Daoist. Which region of Huaxia is this fellow Daoist from? Which cave does fellow Daoist cultivate in? What's fellow Daoist's Dao name? What level of cultivation is fellow Daoist at? TL, Huaxia is the archaic name for China. This chain of questions, why did they seem somewhat strange? At approximately the same time, a new message came from the ID Mad Saber 3 Waves. What is the new fellow Daoist gender? Are you a fairy or no? If you are, give the size of your bust, waist, and buttocks, and post a photo. Seeing the new messages by Su Clan's Archie and Mad Saber 3 Waves, quite a number of other members' mouths twitched. Brother 3 Waves, is your zodiac indeed a goldfish? North River's loose practitioner sighed, you better not invite death by recklessness again. What if Mount Yellow's true monarch once again invited some big-time senior in? Everything was good about 3 Waves, he's friendly, loyal, and loves helping others, so his relationship with others was pretty good. The only problem is he liked to speak pervertedly, in a way that invites death. It turns out that this fella's luck was so low that it gives people goosebumps. He always couldn't help but invite death from recklessness, and the ones he offended were always big-time seniors. Since those big-time seniors were usually bored without any source of entertainment, they were naturally very happy to torture Mad Saber 3 Waves who personified entertainment delivered to their front doors. I kneel and beg you not to mention the words big-time seniors, they are a dark shadow in this Majesty's heart. Mad Saber 3 Waves sent a line of crying face emojis. TL, Mad Saber 3 Waves called himself, but there's no English term for this, so I translated it as This Majesty. If you have a better term to suggest, do let me know. For years ago this crappy mouth of his offended a beautiful big-time senior, and was miserably tortured. That big-time senior continuously tortured him for an entire year and 4 months. You didn't hear wrongly, a whole year and 4 months. When he thought of that tumultuous and inhuman times, his eyes turned moist. Immediately after 3 Waves spoke, emojis of naughty smiles popped up one after another in the group. They were not even trying to conceal how much they were enjoying his misery. The group channel showed that among the last 8 people who sent messages, 6 of them neatly sent a string of smiling emojis. You bunch of people who take joy in others' calamity, this Majesty will remember each and every one of you. Do not let this Majesty meet you, otherwise this Majesty will definitely let you people taste the strength of my 72 parts of Rapid Saber. Mad Saber 3 Waves angrily said. He was very confident in his Rapid Saber. Among the 6 people who were leaving naughty smiles, none of them were a match for him in a one-on-one. The moment after Mad Saber 3 Waves spoke, another naughty smile emoji popped up, belonging to Su Clan's Archie. Su Clan's Archie happily followed with, when do you want fight one-on-one? Obviously, Su Clan's Archie didn't have any intention of taking joy in others' calamity, he just wanted to fight with someone. Mad Saber 3 Waves immediately withered. It was because he couldn't beat Archie. His cultivation was profound. He had already reached the 5th level late-stage Spirit Lord, and was just a hair's breadth from 6th level Spirit Lord, but he couldn't beat Archie in a fight. His 72-path saber technique was both fast and fierce, and he also possessed lightning-fast body techniques, yet he still couldn't defeat Archie. He was known as Mad Saber, his wrath terrifies even he himself, but he just couldn't beat Archie. When the others in the group saw 3 Waves wilting, they unbridledly sent lines of smiling emojis once again. This time, Mad Saber 3 Waves could only sullenly post a line of dots. The people in the group had been noisy for so long, yet they still hadn't heard a word from the new member, which made them feel a little baffled. Our new fellow Daoist is not making a sound? North River's loose practitioner asked. That's right, because of the cold medicine's effects, Song Shuhang had once again entered a half-asleep state. At this time, Su Clan's Archie happily sent a piece of news. I took a look, the new fellow Daoist is called a MT Books Huge Pressure. Has anyone heard of an expert with this Dao name? This Dao name sounds a little like a scholarly sects practitioner. This is so exciting. These years, scholarly sects practitioners have been living very deeply in seclusion, so it's not even possible to find them. It has already been nearly 100 years since I fought with them. Now that I think about it, scholarly sects practitioners are even more unwilling to fight than Buddhist sects. Not only are they adept at glib speech, but their fists are also hard. Moreover, when the fight gets interesting, they will heroically hum poetry to make things multiple times more fun. I love fighting them the most. Archie, when it comes to new fellow Taoists, are you forever only interested in whether they could be a good fight, and whether it is fun to fight them? Mad Saber 3 Wave sent a crying face emoji. This is practically an evil tyrant's way, you know. Su Clan's Archie felt a little embarrassed. North River's loose practitioner smirked nastily and said, could it be he's another big-time senior who doesn't know how to use the chatting tool? Once he said that, everyone started to feel like, isn't this the scene of being ignored? That's right, right about 4 years ago there seemed to have been a senior who came out of closed-door cultivation after over 100 years. She too had difficulties getting on the chatting software, and was added to the group by Mount Yellow's True Monarch. Yet, because she didn't know how to type, she couldn't send messages. Afterwards, someone named Mad Saber 3 Waves happily spoke like a pervert in front of this senior, asked for the senior to post her 3 sizes, asked her to send her photo, and also asked for voice chat etc. Then, a few days after, Mad Saber 3 Waves saw this senior with his own eyes. She was a very pretty senior, dazzling and beautiful like the bright moon in the night sky. What followed after that was, this pretty senior tortured Mad Saber 3 Waves for an entire 1 year and 4 months, before she left perfectly satisfied. At this time, Mad Saber 3 Waves suddenly kneeled. Mount Yellow? This time, someone with the ID a Medicine Master sent a message. An unfathomable and brief message, with no head nor tails. Luckily the group members had long been accustomed to Medicine Master's short messaging habits. Is he asking where the group master Mount Yellow True Monarch is? The reason Medicine Master's messages are short wasn't because he had a cold and proud nature. Instead, it was because he was doing 2-finger push-ups while in handwriting mode, which made his speed outrageously slow. When he increased the number of words written there would also be more chances of a mistake, and to keep deleting and rewriting was pitilessly painful. This was why Medicine Master's messages were as short as possible. As time passed, it became like this, a socializing style with words as rare as gold. He went offline immediately after sending the invitation. I heard his family's treasured great devil dog got angry and left home again. Mount Yellow's True Monarch chased after it again. Medicine Master. In that case, we can only wait for our new fellow Taoist to learn how to use the chatting tool before we chat. Su Clan's Archie sighed. They all knew first impression was the strongest, and believed that the new member was also one of them. Seeing that the new fellow Taoist had no reaction, the others online weren't entertained, then gradually lurked. Approximately 1 hour later, Song Shuhang gradually became more clear-headed as he woke up. I remember that just a moment ago, someone added me to a group, the 9 Provinces, 1, group, he muttered softly. Conveniently expanding the chat tool on the lower right part of the screen, he brought up the 9 Provinces, 1's chat window. What kind of group is this? In an instant, 1 hour's worth of chat logs appeared on the screen. Song Shuhang roughly skimmed through it. Fellow Taoist? Cultivation cave? Cultivation level? There's even seniors? True Monarch? This Majesty? Hunting down the great devil dog. All kinds of vocabulary straight from Xianxia novels. The way people talked in this group was also very peculiar, ancient, but not entirely ancient, plain, but not entirely plain. This type of speech gave people the feel of a modern person trying to sound ancient. Unfortunately, lacking knowledge in the fundamentals of classical Chinese, it led to a very awkward exchange. Kai Song Shuhang started audibly laughing. It seems that this was a Xianxia aficionado group. Oh no, this definitely wasn't the normal Xianxia fan group. Every single member in this group had given themselves a Dao name. The place they live in was called a cultivation cave. Even the pet the group master lost was described as family's great devil dog abandoning his home. There's even someone who proclaimed that he had not fought with any scholarly sects for over 100 years or something. Doesn't that mean that person claimed to have already lived several hundred years? Looking at this log, Song Shuhang developed a feeling of shame. To be obsessed to this degree, it seems like they have already been afflicted by Chunibia syndrome. Furthermore, it is a very specific Huaxia-flavored Xianxia disease. Song Shuhang concluded. Seems like this was the Xianxia Nibia victims' assembling point. This was his first impression of the members in a 9 provinces, 1 group. But why did they decide to add him? Looking at the account information of Mount Yellow's true monarch, Song Shuhang determined that this person was not his classmate. He definitely not did recognize this guy at all. Was this an accidental invite? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2, please wait for esteemed me to divinate. Chapter 2, please wait for esteemed me to divinate. People always say that the second year of middle school is a rebellious age. Everyone more or less goes through that phase, but only some people show it to the world to see, while others tuck it deep inside their hearts. This was also the difference between obvious trouble and secret trouble. Song Shuhang could be considered to have matured early. That phase of his life came quick and left even quicker. Therefore, when he reached his second year of middle school, while his classmates were still stuck in their wuxia, superhero, immortal dreams, and constantly brandishing their 18 falling dragon palms while transforming into superheroes, Song Shuhang had long lost those desires. Our world's laws of physics were already so precise. To be able to jump 3 stories? To be able to summon a golden dragon with your palm strikes? To be able to fly by wearing your underwear on the outside? Those things were simply impossible. However, he still liked Xianxia novels, superhero movies, and the like. Perhaps deep inside his heart, he still hoped that one day, superheroes, aliens, and immortals could appear in front of him. He obviously knew that all these were impossible, but weirdly, he still looked forward to that day with anticipation. Could this be mankind's talent? Song Shuhang laughed as he closed the group's chat window. However, he didn't leave the group. He felt that the people in the 9 provinces, 1 group were interesting, and those chat records of the group could make anybody who sees it feel embarrassed. From a spectator's point of view, it was unexpectedly interesting. So before the group master decided to kick him out, he plans to first lurk around, then take a look at the various kinds of interesting chat records to kill boredom. On the computer's screen, the movie was still playing. It seemed like it was a horror flick. Every single plot device you could find in horror was shown, evidently proving that this movie was directed by a genius horror director at the peak of his performance. It was said that this movie had made even middle-aged men cry in fright, and frightened a ton of people to the point of being afraid of going to the bathroom alone. However, Song Shuhang did not receive any feelings of fright. Instead, he pulled the progress bar backwards. After watching for a while more, he yawned again and slowly transitioned from his sitting posture to a lying posture, finding his eyelids to also become increasingly heavy. If that genius director knew that his movie only had this little effect, wouldn't he cry? Dazed, Song Shuhang had a fanciful dream. It was an extremely fun and beautiful dream, a really beautiful dream. There were immortals, superheroes, and all kinds of mythical lands. To live a long and free life. To be able to move the mountains and the oceans. Tread through the world wielding a sword. Since ancient times, how many people have had this dream? Only, as one grew older, reality broke this dream. People could only tuck it deep in their hearts, and not think about it. In the end, dreams are only dreams. The next day. Tuesday. The 21st of May. 1 a.m. Inside the group chat, the group master Mount Yellow's true monarch finally came online. The moment he got online, North River's loose practitioner popped up with a question. True monarch, who is MT Book's huge pressure you added yesterday? Where does he cultivate from? The person added yesterday? You guys haven't exchanged words yet? That is the daughter of esteemed Ms. Old Friend who is born in this era. It seems like her aptitude isn't bad. So young, and she is already at the peak of 3rd stage, Hu Qian, just about to reach 4th stage, Xian Qian. She is truly extraordinary. Mount Yellow's true monarch replied laughing. If she's born in this era, then her age probably does not exceed 40? To be able to achieve the peak of 3rd stage, Hu Qian, at such an age, this person truly is a genius. North River's loose practitioner inwardly nodded. Yet the DAO name that person had taken was very odd. MT Books Huge Pressure didn't seem like a DAO name. North River's loose practitioner was still thinking when suddenly, Mount Yellow's true monarch said, "Huh? Esteemed Ms. Old Friend's daughter's DAO name isn't MT Books Huge Pressure. Then, who the hell is this Mount Books Huge Pressure?" Mount Yellow's true monarch's face turned into the shape. This wasn't some random person. True monarch, this was the unknown person you added yesterday. Probing the situation, North River's loose practitioner asked, "True monarch, could it be that you have added the wrong person? Let esteemed me check it out." After a short moment, with a line of cold sweat emojis, Mount Yellow's true monarch sent out a couple of words to the chat. "I truly added the wrong person." The ID number's only difference was the middle character. Esteemed me entered a 9 instead of an 8. Never would have expected that esteemed me could make such a mistake. North River's loose practitioner sarcastically laughed. "Just as I said, even if one has assimilated into modern society, there still wouldn't be a person who would set their DAO name as a MT Books Huge Pressure, right?" Mount Yellow's true monarch followed up by sending another line of cold sweat emojis. Afterwards, he hastily brought his good friend's daughter into the chat once more. The group notification prompted, "Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather has entered 9 provinces, 1 group." This name kept up with the 9 provinces, 1 group style, with a rich Xianxia air assaulting your senses. As for Mount Books Huge Pressure, this name surely must have been something strange that snuck in. The moment someone new joined, Mad Saber 3 Waves immediately emerged. "Oh? The new fellow Daoist is a fairy? Post your photo and report the size of your bust, waist, and buttocks. If you're beautiful, why not we date?" Mad Saber 3 Waves has lurked for a long time. His zodiac may be a goldfish, but in the end his memorization capabilities could still last more than 3 seconds. Yesterday he was already reminded that he should avoid offending big-time seniors, so today he carefully lurked and evaluated the situation. Hearing Mount Yellow's true monarch state that this person was his good friend's daughter, and that her cultivation level was at the peak of the 3rd stage, Huqian, Mad Saber 3 Waves became at ease. If it wasn't someone from the older generation, then he could tease as much as he wanted, satiating his cravings. In this group, newcomers were extremely rare, so he had to fiercely hold it in all this time. The moment Mad Saber 3 Waves opened his mouth, Mount Yellow's true monarch's face immediately darkened. Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather sent a line of dots in the chat, then sent another line, "As it is late, this old man's daughter has already proceeded to meditate and practice. Her number will temporarily be used by this old man until fellow Daoist Mount Yellow adds me to this group." Whom? I've long heard that 9 province, 1 group's fellow Daoist 3 Waves is exceptionally outstanding, easygoing, and has the gift of the gab. It seems 100 gossips cannot compare to a single meeting. Fellow Daoist 3 Waves, this old man appreciates you. Another day, I'll invite you to drink with me. Mad Saber 3 Waves immediately felt awkward. To think that while he was flirting around with a girl, the father would turn up. In this world, there is nothing as shameful as that. He urgently wanted to find a hole in the ground and get into it. Fortunately, it seemed that this senior had an amiable temperament as he lightly brushed it off with a few words. Continuing on, this senior introduced himself to the rest of the group that was online and requested that everybody take care of his daughter in the future. Then, he finally lurked before he disconnected. Seeing that this senior left, Mad Saber 3 Waves let out a breath of air. Cheerfully he went, "Luckily, it seems like this senior can take a joke. Perhaps in the future, I'll have an opportunity to talk to Lady Softfeather herself." Mount Yellow's true monarch. North River's loose practitioner. The hard-to-come-by medicine master then emerged. He's a man who held his words like gold. He rarely spoke out, yet this time he actually entered 4 words, hoping for too much. 3 Waves was confused. But medicine master who treated words like gold naturally wouldn't explain any further. Look at the new member's DAO name's prefix. North River's loose practitioner explained, if one doesn't court death he wouldn't die. Will brother 3 Waves forever be unable to understand this principle? Prefix? Spiritual Butterfly Island? It was as if Mad Saber 3 Waves still had no reaction. That's right, Spiritual Butterfly Island. To add on to that, a senior. Does that not remind you of someone? North River's loose practitioner pointed out. After quite a while, Mad Saber 3 Waves suddenly understood, and sent a line of sneering emojis. It's that spiritual butterfly respected sage that fusses over every single detail. Honorable Spiritual Butterfly was a strong senior. Everything about him was good, he's upright and chivalrous. It's just that he liked to argue with others about all kinds of insignificant things, and had reached the peak of the Tao of fussing over minor details. While others may fuss over minor details, he fusses over every single detail. North River's loose practitioner was angry to the point that his mouth was twitching. This wasn't how I warned you. Mount Yellow's true monarch sighed. He truly couldn't bear to keep watching. 3 Waves, that old friend of mine, only minimized the chat group. He hasn't gone offline. Which means the chat record might be seen. No, it would definitely be seen. Mount Yellow's true monarch truly couldn't bear to keep watching 3 Waves court death. No matter what, he was still his chat group's junior. Fuck me, I'm dead. It was as if Mad Saber 3 Waves has peeked into the near future where Spiritual Butterfly respected sage would come to pay him a visit, and execute all sorts of torture onto him. His eyes were once again moist. It seems like this time, he may have offended an even more troublesome big-time senior. At this time, 3 Waves screamed, "True Monarch, please help me intercede." Mount Yellow's true monarch gave an emoji that showed a cold back figure. The people of the chat group no longer paid attention to 3 Waves' wails that sounded like those of a defeated dog, and changed topics. North River's loose practitioner asked the group master, "How are you going to deal with MT Book's high pressure?" Two Clans Archie said, "Do you want to kick him? After all, he's just an ordinary person, and so he's not really suitable to chat with us." Ahem, since it was an accidental invite by Esteemed Me, it can also be considered fate. Let Esteemed Me calculate a divination, then decide how to handle this. Mount Yellow's true monarch replied. The main point was that he suddenly invited the other party into the group. If he just kicked him now, won't it mean that he loses a lot of face? Which was why at the very least he should use divination to pretend for a bit as an excuse, then kick the person afterwards. First, this way, it would demonstrate his grand and magnificent style. Second, not long ago he suddenly felt a great interest towards divination. He had studied it for a few months, so his hands were now itching for action. No matter what he does, he liked to calculate its divine value beforehand. With that said, using the book Tang versus Song phrases as a base for his divination, he waved his hands, and executed a secret technique of divination. This shamanic power extracted the meaning from the lyrics of a poem, and formed the shape of a trigram. His execution of divination this time went extremely smoothly. Since Mount Yellow's true monarch first began learning how to divinate, this was the first time he experienced this feeling while executing the divination technique. With a happy face he looked at the divinatory trigram's results. Then, Mount Yellow's true monarch's face turned downcast. Mount Yellow's true monarch's complexion turned ugly. He looked at the divinatory trigram, willing to be 2 birds flying wing to wing in the sky, on earth willing to be 2 trees with branches intertwined. TL, this means wishing for conjugal bliss. In his memory this verse was written by a poet by Zhu Yi during the Tang dynasty, a true classic. From then on it was used by people to describe love. Immediately, Mount Yellow's true monarch felt depressed. Wing to wing my ass, intertwining branches my ass. Willing to be a intertwining branch, Esteemed Me might as well hang myself on the southeast branch. TL, suicide. It can't be that he, the great Mount Yellow's true monarch, has to go to that likely male LMT Book's high pressure, and conduct an inseparable world-shaking romance. This led him to think of Long Yangjun from Huaxia's Warring States period. This made him feel as if he just swallowed a cockroach, ridiculously disgusted. This definitely is because Esteemed Me's cultivation level in divination techniques is insufficient. After all, I have only studied it for a month. So Esteemed Me should try calculating the divinatory trigram once more. That's right, this must be it. Mount Yellow's true monarch once again executed the divination secret technique. The deep energies once again flipped Tang versus Song phrases. Again, the meaning of another verse was extracted. This time the divination secret technique revolved incredibly smoothly. Mount Yellow's true monarch felt great, it will surely hit the target. He looked towards the divinatory trigram. Then, true monarch's face paled. Divinatory trigram, after being together for a long time, even if a pair has been separated, how can their relationship easily change from sunrise to sunset? Sunset your grandfather? Esteemed me doesn't believe in this supernatural bullshit. Mount Yellow true monarch once again reset the trigram. This time he felt even more mighty. Mount Yellow's true monarch felt his divinatory trigram cultivation level increasing by leaps and bounds at this moment. This time we'll hit the mark for sure. He looked down to see the divinatory trigram, turn back suddenly, and discover that your destined person is there, by the waning lantern lights. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Mount Yellow's true monarch had firmly decided on what to do with the Tang versus Song phrases. Tilting his head 45 degrees upwards, he looked depressedly up towards the sky. What a melancholic feeling! Continuing on, true monarch resolutely tore apart the hardcover version of Tang versus Song phrases in his hands. While ripping it apart he forcefully nodded. Sure enough, esteemed me does not possess talent in the area of divination techniques and wasn't made to be a divination master. Therefore, the divinatory trigram's results that esteemed me acquired must all be failures. He then tossed the torn Tang versus Song phrases to one side. In his heart he silently vowed never again to cheaply divinate anything. With the hardcover versus phrases torn and thrown to the side, true monarch typed, "That Mount Book's high pressure. Let's keep him for now." Esteemed me just divinated, and discovered that he and esteemed me are connected by fate. Adding him to the group was no random accident, it was inevitable. As for what the future holds for him, that will depend on his luck. True monarch used vocabulary from various divination techniques. As for the divinatory trigram's results, he wouldn't reveal a word even if someone beat him to death. Damn, even if there was fate, that fate definitely was a bastardly fate. Then let's leave it be for now. Anyways, he would probably leave the group soon enough. Come to think of it, what was the result of true monarch's divinatory calculation? North River's loose practitioner had heard before that true monarch was learning divination techniques, and so he was very curious as to what this senior had divined. Mount Yellow's true monarch, "Oh right, you guys continue chatting, I have an urgent matter so I'll leave first." Finishing his words, he rapidly went offline, leaving behind the bewildered North River's loose practitioner. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 3, One Pill Recipe. Chapter 3, One Pill Recipe. The sun hung high in the sky. It was precisely noon. Since his roommates knew that Song Shuhang had not yet recovered from his cold, they had already asked for another day of sick leave for him so that he could rest well. Why do I feel like my illness is getting more serious? Is it because I haven't been exercising much lately, which led to my body's condition worsening? Song Shuhang wondered. Beside him, there was a bowl of century egg porridge. His roommates had brought this for him during lunchtime. What a nice bunch. Song Shuhang unhesitantly placed them in his friend zone. After he'd slept for God knows how long, he was so hungry that his chest stuck to his back. He then raked the century egg porridge into his mouth before he switched on his computer again. When he habitually opened the group chat software, he saw the red dot that specified the number of latest messages in the 9 provinces, 1, group. Song Shuhang curiously extended his hand to open the 9 provinces, 1, group tab, wanting to see what the Xianxia aficionado Chanibius had talked about throughout the night. The chat logs of the early morning surfaced before his eyes. North River's loose practitioner's questions related to the newcomer, Mad Saber 3 Waves' death-seeking ways, the interesting senior from the spiritual Butterfly Island. There's also Mount Yellow's true monarch who had claimed he had divined that they were brought together by fate just by using a divination technique once. As he looked at the chat logs, the images of these few people began to fill Shuhang's mind. So it's because they added the wrong person. Like I said, I don't even recognize this Mount Yellow's true monarch. Judging from the chat logs, it seems like not just anyone could freely join this group. A member's recommendation was needed to enter. Moreover, the age of this bunch of Xianxia aficionados all didn't seem to be young. There was even someone who had a daughter. To add on, from his tone, it seemed that his daughter was no longer young. Then with some calculations, perhaps he was already 40 to 50 years old. Already so old but still stuck in Chu Uni. His daughter must have suffered a lot. Skimming through the chat logs, Song Shuhang maintained his lurking mode, unconditionally remaining silent. Seeing the group members act foolishly was a very interesting thing, but if he joined in, what would it then be considered as? He doesn't act foolishly anyways. Therefore, his plan was to just lurk, read the chat logs and get a few laughs every day. If there's one day that he felt that this chat group has become boring, he would just quit 9 provinces, 1 group. This was how he had always thought. Unknowingly, 10 days had already passed. June 1st, Saturday, Children's Day. TL, holiday in China. Shuhang's roommates were all half-boarders and half-day schoolers. What that meant was that they stayed in the dorms from Monday to Friday and went home on weekends. So whenever the weekend came, only one lonely person, him, would be left in the dorms. Song Shuhang had already recuperated from his cold, but he was still suffering from a stuffy nose and a cough. These coughs from the cold were more troublesome to recover from. If it was not well taken care of, these coughs could last a couple of months. As he rested on Saturday, Shuhang slept till 8 a.m. before waking up. Then, he went to the cafeteria and ate some lightly flavored food. With nothing to do, he returned to the dormitory. After opening his computer, he had already become accustomed to visiting the chat logs of the 9 provinces, 1 group. This was now his main way of passing the time. Unknowingly, he had joined this group for 10 days already. While lurking these past 10 days, he saw that the majority of the people in the group were chatting about which secret realm to intrude, and how much rewards they'll reap. Other than that, there were also talks about where the evil ghosts and demons had appeared, and whether to tame or behead them. They talked like all of this was real. Song Shuhang was thinking, if he were to take the contents of this chat log, polish it up a bit, then post it online as a Xianxia novel, he could make quite a bit of money from royalties. Within these past 10 days, Song Shuhang recognized quite a number of people from the group. For example, the rarely seen group master, Mount Yellow's true monarch. Furthermore, the 2 moderators who had never appeared since he joined this group, Deluo Sect's Rainmoon true monarch and 7 Paths respected sage. The frequently online included intelligence reporter, North River's loose practitioner, death-seeking Mad Saber 3 Waves, Su Clan's Archie who wanted to fight with or without speaking, and medicine master whose words were as hard to come by as gold. In addition, there was also the constantly lurking roaming cloud monk Tong Xian who only posted emoticons even when he surfaced in the chat. It was rumored that this high monk has been training in silent meditation. He was not only unable to speak but also even unable to type. At most, he could send an emoticon. Finally, amongst this somewhat chunny group, there was Spirit Butterfly Island's Soft Feather who spoke normally. Her number was only 1 digit away from Song Shuhang's. Only by riding on her good fortune did Shuhang receive the opportunity to enter this 9 provinces, 1 group. These reports were obtained by him when North River's loose practitioner passionately introduced the group's members to Spiritual Butterfly Island's Soft Feather. Today, upon opening the 9 provinces, 1 a chat, the first thing he saw was a message from the Medicine Master. The Medicine Master, whose words were as hard to come by as gold, sent, improved a foundation pill formula. Including the punctuation mark, this was a 6-word sentence. From the moment he joined the group, Song Shuhang had never seen the Medicine Master post such a long message. So he continued to read on. The Medicine Master's news was posted in the early morning. Simplified pill recipe for body tempering liquid, ginseng 3 liang, goji berries for liang 3 chen, morning dew mysterious grass, rising sunstone 3 liang, maiden's fragrance 1 liang 3 chen. Fresh Overlord Branch 1 liang, thinly sliced 9 yang Scarlet Flame Bamboo full liang. TL, 1 liang equals 50 G, 1 chen equals 5 G. Listing 45 types of medicinal ingredients in succession. Amongst them, there were familiar-looking ingredients like ginseng and goji berries, but there were also the rarely heard rising sunstone and the unheard-before ingredients, morning dew mysterious grass, fresh overlord branches, the 9 yang scarlet flame bamboo, and such. Follow the proportion of the recipe and put them one by one into the pill furnace, simmer it for 5 minutes, insert the next herb, then simmer for 5 minutes, insert next herb and repeat. Pay attention to the fire's temperature. By using this process, the medicinal liquid would turn into a paste. A successfully completed body tempering liquid should be black in color, transparent, and with a strong smell. Easy to understand. Out of the 40 over ingredients, there were many that Song Shuhang did not recognize. Curiously, he went only to look them up. In the pill formula, there were 30 ingredients from common Chinese medicine, all for improving your qi, blood, and such. There were still 15 ingredients such as morning dew mysterious grass, fresh overlord branch, and scarlet flame bamboo which he had never heard of. It can't be that this medicine master from the group is making up things, right? These people have sunk too deep into this delusion, they even made up medicinal formulas. It can't be that someone would really follow this formula and consume that medicinal paste, right? Song Shuhang wondered. He was a bit anxious, because as rice could be eaten in any way you like, but medicine could not be randomly taken. Wouldn't indiscriminately eating medicine lead to death? How about advising this group of Chunibya not to? No matter how you put it, Song Shuhang had already been in this chat for 10 days. If someone in this group happened to die from recklessly eating medicine, he too would feel a bit guilty. Continuing on, upon checking the chat, he realized that some people had already followed the instructions. It turns out that it was the one that seemed the most normal in the chat, Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather, that responded at around 2 in the morning. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather, compared to the old formula, this one is lacking in a lot of rare medicinal ingredients. The process is also simplified by a lot. Medicine Master, what temperature should the fire be? I just tried, but the result was it had failed midway. Also, how much of the medicinal effectiveness is decreased in comparison to the original? Effect 2:1. Said Medicine Master. Medicine effectiveness was only half from before, after all many precious herbs were lessened. But with such normal mass-oriented medicinal ingredients, to still be able to form a body-tempering liquid, it would be considered a profit even so. The temperature and specific timings has to be grasped yourself, it cannot be explained. Medicine Master once again sent a rare long line of words, only when it came to questions about pill concoctions would he clench his teeth and enter a few more words. Also, if your fire control arts aren't good enough, I recommend you utilize a treasure for fire control. Thank you, Senior, I will try again. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather sent a smiley, then returned to lurking. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather's final message was at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. If she went to concoct pills after that, judging from the time, she should already have concocted a few furnaces of pills, right? It could kill, right? From the start, this bunch of Chunibius were already very silly. If they ate the wrong medicine too, wouldn't they become super silly? Originally, they could probably be saved, but right now if they ate that medicine then there would truly be no hope for rescue. His conscience finally took over, and he couldn't help but enter into the chat window. Medicine cannot be randomly taken. Right as he was about to knock on the enter key, and send his first sentence in this group, the chat window vibrated. A large smiley popped out from the group chat's avatar. It was the moderator who hadn't appeared from when Song Shuhang entered the chat group. 7 paths. Respected sage, this recipe is great. I just tried simultaneously concocting it in 7 furnaces, and all of them easily succeeded. The success rate is very high. I've tried some and the effectiveness of the medicine is slightly more than half of the old version of body tempering liquid. But the cost of manufacturing this recipe is only 1/10 of the old recipe. The body tempering liquid may be the lowest level of pills, but as of today, the spiritual qi in this realm is becoming thinner and thinner. To us for whom expensive medicines and herbs are rare, this truly is a good thing. Medicine Master, continue to work hard. If you can improve pill recipes of level 3 and above, then your contributions and efforts will truly be invaluable. To add on, what's most important is, the concocting difficulty has been greatly reduced. This can even be passed on to medicinal students to concoct. 7 Path respected sage was a famous senior in the group, and in terms of strength he was even one level higher than Mount Yellow's true monarch. He also had high attainments in terms of pill concoction. In this group, he could be said to be the authority in terms of pill concocting. His praises naturally let a junior like Medicine Master feel extremely heartened. Thank you, senior, I will work hard. Medicine Master excitedly entered these many words in a single sentence, moreover with high speeds. Song Shuhang's mouth started twitching. There was actually someone who had already concocted and taken that body tempering liquid? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 4, H-City's Third Stage, Huqian Lightning Tribulation. Chapter 4, H-City's Third Stage, Huqian Lightning Tribulation. Thinking it through, Song Shuhang pressed and held the key and deleted what he typed into the chat window. He understood, with this group's members' temperament, even if he sent advice, he reckoned that none of them would probably listen. Moreover, since there was someone who had already taken it, and was still able to leap and frisk about, that medicine shouldn't poison someone to death in a short period of time, right? Although this was how it is, Song Shuhang felt that he couldn't just leave them to their own devices. Every medicine had its side effects. Perhaps this body tempering liquid or something was a slow-acting poison, and wouldn't kill a person in a short period of time, but if it took a life in a long period of time, what was there to do? Therefore this medicinal recipe had to be verified. He was even still worried for this group of Xianxia Junibius. As a person, Song Shuhang was generally a great candidate to choose as a good friend. He picked up the notebook beside him, then copied down the 30 and more medicinal ingredients that Medicine Master's body tempering fluid contained that could be found online. Song Shuhang had an older female cousin named Zhao Yaya, who studied medical science. Her university had a Chinese medicine faculty, so Song Shuhang wanted to have her ask them if these 30 and more improving qi and blood circulation ingredients were thrown into a pot and cooked for a while, will the end result be able to kill the one who eats it? All these improving blood circulation, qi, and health ingredients, theoretically shouldn't kill the one who eats it. But so many things stuffed into a pot to cook and stew, who knows what kind of thing it would end up transforming into at the end. As for those names at the back, the fresh tyrant branches, Nanyang scarlet bamboo slices, etc. Those carried a clear sense of chunny, therefore Song Shuhang naturally chose to ignore them. Who knew what kind of things these were? He wasn't someone stuck in second grade, all right? If he took these items to ask his cousin would definitely think that water had entered his brain. And then the next day, Mama Song would certainly board an aeroplane to hurry towards Jiangnan City and take him to see some neurosurgeon or psychiatrist. When I go back home in another 2 weeks, I'll secretly ask my cousin, Song Shuhang quietly reasoned in his heart. He hoped that in this span of time, the Xianxia aficionados wouldn't cut him off. While Song Shuhang was copying the pill recipe, 9 provinces, 1 group also remained peaceful temporarily. On normal days the number of members online always remained low. By the looks of it, even Junibius have normal lives to lead. That's right, people living on this earth still had to eat, work, and take care of children. Perhaps within this group there were also students like him. After copying the 30 and more ingredients from the pill recipe, Song Shuhang stretched his back. He then looked towards the bottom right hand of his monitor, at the weather forecast software. The 1st of June, clear. The 2nd of June, clear. The weather's good, I should go exercise for a bit later. Song Shuhang felt that his physique had deteriorated, and so decided to do more exercise. But it didn't matter what his heart thought, for his fingers couldn't help but open the computer's game icon, first enjoy a game then think about it. Although he said he'd enjoy a game, once the game started, one match after another, he simply couldn't stop. Unwittingly, it was afternoon. Time during weekends always seemed to pass particularly fast. Song Shuhang made a dry laugh, closed the game, then conveniently opened up the 9 provinces, 1, group by habit. Taking a look after booting, taking a look before shutting down, and a happy mood for the whole day. Once the chat window opened, he realized that the frequently online North Rivers Loose practitioner was already online. Inside there were many new chat records. North Rivers Loose practitioner, Medicine Master Bro, your pill concocting standards leave me speechless. I tried 10 furnaces of that altered body tempering liquid, and even managed success with 8 of them. The medicine's effectiveness was better than expected. It's a pity that this body tempering liquid is only effective for entry-level cultivators. For a loose practitioner like me this isn't very useful, but for those like Deluo Sect's Rainmoon True Monarch and the others' disciples and disciples' children, those seniors would have great use for it. Once Senior Rain Butterfly and the others receive this pill recipe, they would owe you, Medicine Master Bro, a huge favor. Roaming Cloud Monk Tong Xian mysteriously appeared, and sent a thumbs up. North Rivers Loose practitioner immediately laughed. I forgot, Master Tong Xian, you have a group of little monks under your care. Medicine Master Bro, seems like the people who owe you a favor has once again increased. Roaming Cloud Monk Tong Xian once again sent a smiley, then lurked. North Rivers Loose practitioner returned with another smiley. He felt that practicing that silent meditation was a real pain in the ass, and if it wasn't for the chat software allowing Master Tong Xian to send punctuations and emoticons, he probably wouldn't even have a way to socialize, right? Buddhist sects were just such a pain in the ass, which was why that time, when a great monk tried to sway him into becoming a novice monk, him not agreeing was a decision that couldn't be greater. Approximately 10 minutes later, Mad Saber 3 Waves came online. Soft Feather Fairy ~~ Soft Feather Fairy, if you are here please be sure to reply to this majesty for a moment. At the same time he sent a line of crying and kneeling emoticons. Oh, fellow Deos 3 Waves hasn't been online for the past few days. Where did you go for closed door cultivation? North Rivers Loose practitioner made a naughty smile. He was asking despite knowing the circumstances. Closed a damn door. 3 Wave sent a voice message, even his voice sounded like choking. 3 days ago, Senior Spiritual Butterfly respected sage came to visit this majesty, then stayed in this majesty's house for 3 days. After that, you all know what happened. He. North Rivers Loose practitioner expressed how he definitely wouldn't pity 3 Waves. Someone who seeks death is not worth pitying. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather, beautiful Soft Feather Fairy, please come out to meet Waves. I have something to request. 3 Waves miserably called. Waves was 3 Waves' surname. His original name was Waves 3. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather came online and sent a question mark. Fairy, you are finally here. This majesty has a request. I'm requesting you to please bring that overly attached to his daughter's relationship's father back home. Waves is kneeling. 3 Wave sent a Ots kneeling emoticon. He. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather sent a smiley, and then sent another sentence after a moment. Old me is overly attached to his daughter's relationships? Ooh? Wait a moment, doesn't something seem to be wrong? Old me? Oh my mama, it was Spiritual Butterfly respected sage using his daughter's account again? Clunk, did something break? It was 3 Waves' frail heart. Sure enough, this old fella was overly attached to his daughter's relationships, often using his daughter's account. Was there still justice in this world? North Rivers Loose practitioner felt that his mouth could no longer stop twitching. In the end, he kindly prompted, right, 3 Waves bro, Lady Softfeather seems to be refining the new version of body tempering liquid, right? Which is why Lady Softfeather will not come online for a short period of time. Afterwards, there no longer was an afterwards. Mad Saber 3 Waves disconnected. It was a disconnection, not that he went offline. Kai! Song Shuhang happily laughed out. Cheerful mood. Over the 10 days of reading the chat records, he felt that the people in the group weren't like normal Chinibya patients. Their conversations revealed contents were too real, like it wasn't products of their imaginations. This thought only stayed in Song Shuhang's mind for a moment before it passed. Could it be that I've seen too much of their chat records, and have been assimilated by them? Thinking of this, Song Shuhang was frightened to the point he had cold sweat. He had long passed the age for Chu Uni, but who doesn't have a remember that timey moments? Those years of heroic, wuxia and superhero dreams were his dark history, and experiences he wouldn't want to face in this lifetime. Once he thought of it he would feel ashamed, and feel like dying, wanting to forget and wanting to forget. So he absolutely must not be assimilated by the other fellas in the group. Time to go eat. He extended his hand, and was about to close the 9 provinces, 1, group. Just as he was about to close the chat, the group's North River's loose practitioner once again appeared with a line, Archie, as the junior in your family finished with his tribulation. Why is there no noise from him? Two clans Archie replied, preparing for it right now, it's about to begin in a few hours. North River's loose practitioner replied with another question, going through the tribulation from where? Do you need help? The tribulation will be at a suburb of H City, don't worry, my family's Shiliu has outstanding talent, a mere 3rd stage, Huqian advancement's lightning calamity is a small matter, sprinkle a little water and it's enough to pass. You guys can wait for my family's Shiliu to advance towards 4th stage, Zhantian, then he will come challenge you guys, waha. Two clans Archie laughed, he was very relaxed. TL, Archie's Chi is the character 7, while Shiliu refers to 16. I might change to the actual numbers if more and more R's appear. If you put it that way then I'm relieved, Shiliu this little fella's talent is indeed pretty good. 3rd stage, Huqian should pose no problems for this little fella. North River's loose practitioner replied. After this, the group's peace was restored. Song Shuhang rubbed his chin, H City? Wasn't that the place right beside the Jiangnan region? Bringing that up, the university city he was at was right beside Jiangnan City and H City, the J City's district. H City was a small city in Huaxia, and while the area was small, their economy was doing extremely well. It was Huaxia's famed shopping heaven, with the reputation of having everything within heaven and earth up for sale. Of course, illegal things were excluded. If the tribulation is received in H City, then can it be seen from the Jiangnan region? Am I an idiot? Song Shuhang laughed, how could he take things said by the group seriously? A lightning calamity nonetheless? With this weather there are no clouds within 10,000 miles, with bright and beautiful sunshine. It couldn't be possible to have a thunderstorm, right? What's more, the present is unlike a few years prior, the weather forecast is now accurate, at least within the approaching 3 days. If it was reported to be a sunny day, there wouldn't be waves of thunder or torrential rains. Taking advantage of the good weather, I'll go to the bookshop after eating. Song Shuhang murmured. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 5, I Believe in Science. Chapter 5, I Believe in Science. After finishing his lunch, Song Shuhang walked towards the nearby book renting store to window read. TL, basically he goes to the bookshop to read but not to buy, similar to window shopping, and so, window read. He liked to window read, not because he wanted to save the money of borrowing a few books, but this was his hobby. Song Shuhang found crouching at a corner of the bookshop reading to be incredibly pleasurable. Of course, in order to avoid the boss from hating him, after reading a while, he would rent a book or two. A person must have integrity, and anything done must not be too extreme, things must be worked on little by little. This way he can avoid the boss hating him, and chasing him out. After all, for a bookshop as large as the one in front of him, with a large variety of books not just limited to novels, rather all kinds of genres novels were available. This type of bookshop was a rare nowadays. To be put on a blacklist, in the vicinity around Jiangnan University, one could not find a more impressive bookstore. They say that a person's name is important and the person becomes like their name. Song Shuhang really liked reading books, and had no bias against them. TL, the word shu in Song Shuhang means books, while the hang refers to boat, a vessel or ship. No matter if they were fiction novels, classic literature, classical works, or even works on theories that can make a person's head spin, he enjoyed all of them. These days, he had been reading books on car driving techniques and important knowledge. He plans to obtain a driver's license while classes are still easy during his first year. Taking the test at school rather than outside was a lot cheaper, a difference of 7,000 to 8,000 yuan. While window reading, time would always fly by quickly. In a blink of an eye, the time reached 3 p.m. So fast, I need to prepare to go back already. I also need to go to the nearby supermarket to get some snacks for a midnight supper, so I can pull an all-nighter on Saturday night. Song Shuhang laughed. Done muttering, he randomly chose a book, walked towards the checkout counter, and checked that book out. The checkout counter was located at the exit of the bookstore. Today, the awning outside which provided shade for the store was broken, so the lady boss took refuge in a shaded spot, avoiding the scorching sun. The sun is so bright, it already feels like midsummer. Song Shuhang said as he used one hand to cover his eyes and looked at the sky. The lady boss was a classic Jiangnan beauty, as if she was made of water. Like Song Shuhang, her interest was also getting a book and reading it all day. From her attire, it could be seen that her quality of life wasn't low and opening this bookstore was merely a hobby for her. Normally, she would be sitting down and reading in a gentle and refined manner. Simply picturesque, the sight of this was warming to the heart and pleasing to the eyes. To watch this scene of the painting-like beauty, many youngsters would forcefully change their hobbies from being rebellious youths to literature youths. However, it was said that this picturesque beauty side was just her peaceful side. With a peaceful mode, there would certainly be a PK mode or berserk mode in her. Only, in this half-year, Shuhang had not seen this side. All right. Within 2 days, you must remember to return it. An additional day will add another yuan towards the fee. The lady boss completed the procedures for renting books, then waved her hand to signal Song Shuhang to get lost. Although they had only interacted for half a semester, this moocher that would stay for more than half a day left a profound impression on her. If it wasn't for his tact in checking out a few books to help her business, she would have used a broom and drove him out ages ago. Song Shuhang laughed as he took the books and took a step exiting the store. Boom! At this moment, an ear-splitting sound exploded out. This noise had scared everyone in this store, and regarding Song Shuhang, who had almost taken a step out of the store, he fell flat on his face. Fuck! Hey, what the hell? Thunder from a clear sky? Scared me to death. In this bookstore, all sorts of exclamations could be heard. Raising his head towards the sky, Song Shuhang found that the endlessly clear sky had changed. In the horizon, there appeared a black cloud quietly condensing. In a blink of an eye, the cloud covered the horizon, giving the feeling of storm clouds approaching. Bad omens. It seems like it's about to rain? TCH. They said that a few years ago, weather forecasts were inaccurate and we must do the opposite. When the forecast states it will be a clear day, you need to bring an umbrella. I expected that after all these years, the weather forecast would have improved. To think that it would still be this unreliable. Song Shuhang sighed. It would be better if it was back then. Back then, you just needed to follow the opposite of what the forecast predicted. Currently, you need to predict and gamble whether the forecast is accurate. After letting his imaginations run wild, he grasped his rented books and prepared the race back to the dorms while the rain hadn't fallen yet. Not waiting till Song Shuhang's second foot stepped out. Boom! Yet another thunder roared out, making the people's ears buzz. Song Shuhang's raised leg once again returned back to the ground. In the horizon, the area with the black cloud started to distort in a peculiar manner. Lightning in the shape of snakes began shooting out from the cloud, forming a net of lightning and exploding with rumbles. Song Shuhang had seen lightning before, but in this lifetime, he had not seen thunder and lightning this concentrated, almost as if it was the apocalypse. The thunder and lightning didn't strike one by one, but rather struck in a coordinated manner. The boom from the thunder was also not ordinary. In the past, the thunder would only have a loud boom with some reverberations afterwards. But right now, it sounded just like when a huge amount of gunpowder was added into firecrackers. Boom boom, Bang bang, boom boom. With so much noise, even the echoes were blocked out. Supposing someone got struck by this, how much power would that guy unlock? Moreover, what made Song Shuhang even more apprehensive was that the black cloud did not move. It stayed at the horizon, chaotically bombing that area, without the intention of spreading over. The cries of thunder surged on for about 10 breaths, continuously. This gave people a feeling that a fierce storm was approaching. How unfortunate! Song Shuhang sighed. He spoke in his heart, why not I return to window read some more? Generally speaking, regarding thunderstorms, those that arrived quickly, departed quickly as well. However, if the storm lasts longer, couldn't he read another book? Thinking of this, he once again returned to the bookstore, preparing to once again stay for a while. As if God was playing a joke on Shuhang, upon turning around return to the bookstore, the rumbling seemed to have suddenly stopped. At the same time, the black cloud covering the horizon and the lightning shaped like snakes also vanished into thin air. It was as if a mighty hand was using the sky to paint, and upon becoming dissatisfied, he effortlessly erased the black clouds and lightning. Snakes. Once again, the sky turned back to endlessly clear, the sun shined over everything. Similar to the recently occurring blasts from the thunder, the sky full of lightning snakes seemed like an illusion and simply fantasy. In the store, there were people muttering, what kind of situation is this? There can't actually be someone who sinned so much that they got struck by lightning, right? Superstition. This thunder and lightning is merely a natural phenomenon. At this time, next to Shuhang, a brat raised his head, his left hand clenching a kid's manhua, his right pointing to the sky. Loudly, with an air of heroism, he yelled, I want this sky to never again cover my eyes. I want this ground, unable to bury my heart. I want the sky covered in black clouds, to disappear without a trace. The corners of Song Shuhang's mouth twitched, certain that once this brat grows up, upon recalling back this memory, he would be rolling on the ground in shame. Moreover, this type of dark history will haunt this brat for his whole life. After that, with great difficulty towards forgetting this memory, he couldn't say for sure it would not appear from a nook in his brain, prompting him to yell, drop dead, so shameful, and so on. Also making him wish that he could go back in time and beat himself up. Because he himself had tons of experience. Only not knowing why, seeing this laughable brat, Song Shuhang suddenly thought of the 9 provinces, 1 group and all the Tunibia in it. H-City, 3rd stage Hotian tribulation. The chat record of the group flashed through his mind. He once again assessed the location of the event. Just a moment ago, the area where the thunderstorm took place seemed to be right at H-City's location. Even though Song Shuhang had a big heart, his heart skipped a beat. Could it be? It was true? The weather forecast displayed clear skies, but before his eyes, countless explosions from thunder had suddenly appeared. Ha 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 ha, how could this be possible? How could there be stuff capable of moving the heavens? It should be coincidence. Song Shuhang calmed his heart down. But when the thought arose, it was impossible to get rid of it. Were there really such coincidences in this world? Those lightning snakes were extremely strange, as if they weren't natural. H-City, tribulation. These few words unceasingly resounded in his mind. Forcefully, Song Shuhang shook his head, throwing this possibility out of his mind. This world view, that he had used 18 years to construct, told him to believe in science and refuse superstition. Those thunderclouds were only a strange natural phenomenon and were not from the tribulation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6, Copper Trigram's Immortal Master. Chapter 6, Copper Trigram's Immortal Master. I have been infected by the people in the chat group. Although reading the chat records is pretty fun, as expected, I should leave the group after a while. Or else, if time passes, I will become one of them. I'll let my cousin look at this recipe, determine whether or not these ingredients will cause death if eaten, then leave the group. Song Shuhang affirmed internally. Actually, since this was just a mysterious group, and since he was mysteriously added, Song Shuhang could completely ignore whether the other party would live or die. However, he always felt that if the medicinal pill had poison in it, then nevertheless, he should warn and advise them against consuming it. Even if the other party doesn't heed his words, he would at least have a clear conscience. Yes, a clear conscience. Whether they listen or not was the group member's responsibility, but whether to advise them or not, that was his responsibility. Upon arriving at the dorms, Song Shuhang opened the chat application and sent his cousin, Zhao Yaya, a copy of the medicinal ingredients. Sis Yaya, hypothetically, if you took all the ingredients, boiled them all down into paste, will the finished product kill someone upon consumption? If you have time, please help me find out. Upon hitting the enter key and sending the message, Song Shuhang leaned back on his chair, relaxing his mind. Cousin Zhu Yaya and Song Shuhang were not close. She had already started interning at college, and did not come online that often. A lot of times, she would only pop online once in a few days. Upon sending a message, it would be normal to receive a reply after a week. If he could, Song Shuhang would rather not have asked this question over the internet. After all, there were some things better said face-to-face to prevent any misunderstandings. If his cousin thought he was the one who wanted to eat this, then wouldn't this be unexplainable without meeting face-to-face? He was afraid that his dearest mother would fly all the way over to see him. However, today, he felt himself becoming increasingly like one of the group members. Indeed, reading this chat log was interesting, but it would be better for him to leave earlier. Taking advantage of the fact that he had never popped up in the chat, and he had not interacted with any of the members, his exit from the group wouldn't have that much impact. Nevertheless, his fingers involuntarily shifted to the bottom right corner, and opened up the 9 provinces, 1, group. It was really easy to form a habit. As a matter of fact, it only took him 10 days to form the habit of checking this chat group daily. At this moment, there were some people online. North River's loose practitioner, Archie, is the tribulation over? Has little Shalyu advanced in rank? This message was sent just over 10 minutes ago, but Su Clan's Archie had not yet responded to him. Something couldn't have happened during the tribulation, right? Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather asked. This time, it was actually she herself and not her father. This girl may have had just joined this group, but with her glib tongue, she had already become familiar with some of the more active group members. She knew that for cultivators, every single tribulation could not be underestimated. No matter how weak the tribulation was, just a single mistake could cause serious repercussions. That shouldn't be the case. There's Archie there. It's merely 3rd stage Huqian tribulation. If there were to be a problem, he could forcefully dispel it. North River's loose practitioner responded. Only, Su Clan's Archie never responded, and he couldn't put himself at ease. At this moment, an ID that Song Shuhang had never seen emerged. This person was called the Copper Trigram's Immortal Master. He sent, "You guys need not worry yet. Wait for this Immortal Master to divinate first, then you'll know the result." After a moment of silence, North River's loose practitioner replied, "Okay." It looked like this person called Copper Trigram's Immortal Master played the role of an Immortal Master in terms of divination. After about 2 or 3 minutes, Copper Trigram's Immortal Master said, "Ha ha, no problem. The results from my divination shows a very auspicious outcome. Su Clan's Archie and his younger relative should be fine. Let's just wait for little Shalyu to come challenge us." Very auspicious, then they should be relieved now, right? Even though you can't take fortune-telling as truth, but sometimes it certainly can make you feel better. Shuhang thought to himself. However, after North River's loose practitioner heard the divination result, he wasn't delighted. Instead, he became quiet. After a while, he sent an grimacing emoji and said, "It seems that Shalyu is indeed in trouble, which is why Archie is not online. Is there anybody who is in H-City's vicinity that can go check if Archie needs any help?" Mad Saber 3 Waves appeared, and sighed, "If the result of the Trigram Immortal is very auspicious, then something is wrong. But I am very far away from H-City. Even if I rushed there, it will take me days to get there." Softfeather was puzzled. Soft Feather, what you don't know is that Immortal Master's divination is never correct. If the result from his divination is very auspicious, then you'd better be prepared, because a calamity is imminent. On the other hand, if he divines that you will be in grave danger, you should feel relief, because your luck has just turned great. If one day he foresees that the most world-breaking tribulation is coming your way, then you should have a celebratory party, because this is a sign that you might pick up an immortal tool just from leaving home. Mad Saber 3 Waves explained. North River's loose practitioner added, from a different perspective, Trigram Immortal's divination ability is indeed strong, because if you take the opposite of his divinations, you have basically found the correct answer. Copper Trigram's Immortal Master. He felt a strong urge to scream and defend himself, but because of his long and dark track record, he felt stifled to death. Oh, right, Lady Soft Feather, could you ask your father when he plans to return home? He has been staying at my place for a long time. Doesn't he miss his home? Doesn't he miss his adorable and beautiful daughter? Mad Saber 3 Waver learned his lesson this time and didn't say anything that would warrant his death. Sure thing, Senior, I will ask my dad when I have time. Soft Feather responded politely, but her response was vague as she didn't say when she would ask, and also didn't confirm that the question she will ask her father is for him to return home. Mad Saber 3 Waves is quite astute, and he realized that Soft Feather was merely throwing him off. As a result, Brother 3 Waves' eyes once again moistened. Is there any lurker here from H-City? North River's loose practitioner asked the entire group. The lurking group members popped out one by one, but all denied being in H-City. Guaxia was a huge country, while there were only that many people in the group. It's impossible for everybody to be in the same area. Song Shuhang was in Jiangnan region right next to H-City, but he was no acquaintance of Su Clan's Qi. Moreover, he still kept a clear head. It would be impossible for him to assist these folks in the group to go searching for someone who allegedly went missing after a lightning tribulation based on someone's divination. He had not been assimilated after all. At this moment, Spirit Butterfly Island Soft Feather said again, I plan to run some errands in J-City. I will fly to Jiangnan Airport first, then transfer to J-City. Jiangnan region is close to H-City. If there is anything I can help with, please contact me anytime. Even though I am not familiar with H-City, I will do my best to help. That is great. North River's loose practitioner responded. Passing by Jiangnan region? This lady from the chat group is coming here. Song Shuhang blinked a few times. North River's loose practitioner gladly said, I will try to contact Archie. If he needs help, I will then reach out to you, Soft Feather. He and Su Clan's Archie had been great friends even before joining this chat group. Now, with Copper Trigram's Immortal Master's divination, North River's loose practitioner became very concerned. If something does not concern you, then it doesn't matter. If something does concern you, you can't stay calm. At this moment, Mount Yellow's true monarch appeared. The moderator of the chat group tried to console him by saying, North River, don't get overly worried. With Archie present, don't even mention the third stage Hotian tribulation. Even if it was the fourth stage Xintian tribulation, it couldn't possibly do a thing to him. That's true. North River's loose practitioner sighed. Actually, I wasn't worried at first. It was merely a third stage Hotian tribulation after all. However, the very auspicious divination made by Copper Trigram's Immortal Master truly made me endlessly worried. Mount Yellow's true monarch. Mad Saber 3 Waves. North River's loose practitioner words made a lot of sense, and the two of them were left speechless. If you find any errors, ads pop-up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 7, The Group of Delinquents That Got Wiped Out. Chapter 7, The Group of Delinquents That Got Wiped Out. Copper Trigram's Immortal Master, damn! North River's loose practitioner, what do you mean by that? This is intolerable bullying. On next month's full moon night, at the Forbidden Purple Peak, do you dare to come? Sure, do you think I'm scared of you, a fake divination master? However, I'm not free on next month's full moon. How about we set the date as 3 months later? North River's loose practitioner refreshingly agreed. Also, when the time comes, how am I supposed to find you? After all, you have too many identities. If you turn into a sock puppet, I wouldn't recognize you even if you stood in front of my eyes. Copper Trigram's immortal master was not just proficient in divination, he was also a master in changing appearance. The people in the chat group guessed that he must have been chased around to be killed for calculating divinations wrongly so often, and had no choice but to change his identity to flee. Over time, he mastered the art of changing appearances. 3 months it is then. When the time comes, all you need to care about is going up the forbidden purple peak. I will find you there. Your hateful face, I would recognize it even if it turned into ashes. Copper Trigram's immortal master angrily said. This is settled then. North River's loose practitioner was very resolute, as if he had Copper Trigram's immortal master in the bag. When Mount Yellow's true monarch saw this, he sent a smiley and said, North River, it seems like you're about to have a breakthrough. You want a fight to draw it out and break through in one breath, right? You have been stuck in the 5th stage, Spirit Emperor, for a long time. It's indeed about time you made a breakthrough. 3 months later, during the night of the full moon, if I am able to spare some time to come out, I will go to the forbidden purple peak to referee you two's duel. When the time comes, I will also prepare a small gift for the two of you. True monarch truly understands me. North River's loose practitioner immediately became excited. It must be known that Mount Yellow's true monarch was an old senior. Something he prepared definitely would not be something as simple as a small gift. To procure such things from the fingertips of these old seniors, these things can be considered to be treasures for juniors like them, treasures that they could only get through fortuitous encounters. Since True Monarch has said that, when the time comes, I won't leave North River out cold. I originally intended to let North River endure half a night of cold wind on the forbidden purple peak first, said Copper Trigram's immortal master slowly. North River's loose practitioner. What an asshole. This fella deserves to be called someone whose divination toys with a person's heart. His heart is really tainted. At this time, North River secretly decided in his heart, 3 months later, he absolutely has to beat up Copper Trigram's immortal master so badly that even True Monarch can't recognize him. As this matter came to a conclusion, the chat group temporarily turned silent. After Song Shuhang read the chat records, he was a little worried in his heart. It can't be that the Copper Trigram's immortal master and North River's loose practitioner from the group would really go to the Forbidden City's forbidden purple peak for a duel, right? Based on their character, it's possible that they might actually do such silly things. When that happens, what if they get caught by the security there? I shall note this down first. When leaving the group, I must warn them not to damage our country's cultural heritage. That is illegal. Closing the chat group, Song Shuhang opened the Jiangnan Regional University's webpage to see what news there is today. The lead story of the school's webpage was this afternoon's mysterious wild lightning. The location of the lightning was, as Song Shuhang had guessed, at H City. Because of that thunderstorm within the clear skies, H City and the nearby Jiangnan region had areas which experienced a blackout. This caused a chain of problems, but luckily, there were no mortalities. At the end, there were bits and pieces of news regarding Jiangnan University City. Some examples are the renewal of their school beauties and handsome men rankings. Which of the school's graduates had started up a company that was renowned throughout the country, the result of the school's national ranking in competitions, the price of the blanket used by senior female graduates in auctions, etc. Song Shuhang was not interested in these. He just needed to gain knowledge of some of them, so that when necessary, he possesses some shared conversation topics when idly chatting with others. After that, he started searching for information regarding registration to learn driving on the school's website. The registration fee for ordinary cars was 2,500, student price was just that advantageous. In Jiangnan region, the moment a student steps out of the school, the costs of learning to drive would start from 10,000 and above. Song Shuhang took note of the contact number. He intended to learn the theory within the next few days, then register for driving classes. The driving school had classes for theory, but if he studied the theory himself and directly applied for practical driving classes, it would be quicker. Ding dong tilde. On the school website there was a new update regarding the campus, arousing curiosity from him. Just about 10 to 20 minutes ago, In the alleys close to the university city, many delinquents were knocked unconscious by a mysterious expert. The whole group was wiped out. These so-called delinquents are actually mostly students, while a minority were students that dropped out. A large number of them had very gaudy hairdos, with piercings all over their bodies, and secretly dodged from the teachers in a small alley to smoke. They are rebellious youths. Among them, there would also be repeater students, with the hobby of borrowing money from cowardly students. To the delinquents, to gang beat down others is a type of interest, while it is also nothing out of the ordinary for someone to get beat down. This is because those who don't have a gang or faction can't even be considered as hoodlums. Delinquents getting beat up wasn't news, but within a mere few minutes, having about 100 of these delinquents beat up was the issue. On the photos taken by students at the scene, the miserable conditions of the delinquents could be seen. Every single one of them had ridiculously red faces. The appearance of their faces were as if they were going to act in a Beijing opera, with bruises of various colors. They perfectly suit that saying, already beat up to the point that even their mothers can't recognize them. The school web had many comments regarding this. There was someone rejoicing in those people's misfortune. Who did it? They really did not show mercy. Was it the MMA club or the Taekwondo club? Or could it be that someone from the boxing club trained new members and formed a group to wipe out the delinquents? The one that reports new information, all of them were knocked unconscious. They are now on the way to the hospital. No one has awoken yet. The suspect is unknown. The one that speculates, according to the people from the shop house beside the alley, they did not see big group of delinquents fighting amongst themselves. Moreover, even if they fought amongst themselves, it can't be that not a single one is conscious, right? There can't be such a coincidence even if it was mutual destruction. Therefore it is highly likely that it was an expert at work. A single person or several people had wiped up all of the delinquents. Master? The type that can beat up more than 80 alone. Ha ha. Someone laughed. One must know that even if the number of delinquents didn't number up to 100, there would still be at least 80. With so many delinquents beaten into the ground in a short few minutes, only those great heroes from the movies that crossed over can do that, right? Perhaps it is a person in the elite special forces of the army that did this? It is said that those elite special forces handle ordinary people like handling toys. They can handle a dozen or more in a minute. This guy upstairs is here to joke, right? Even if elite special forces are so awesome, they also have their own missions. Having them ordered to deal with these delinquents, that is the same as using a cannon to shoot a mosquito. Please stop speculating. Wouldn't we know who did this once the delinquents wake up? Someone replied. Song Shuhang refreshed the webpage, casually looked at the various comments, then closed the news window. In any case, things that happened to the delinquents were of no concern to him. Despite being only 1.75 m tall, Song Shuhang was very buff. With one glance it was obvious that he wasn't the type that would become the target for borrowing money. It was like he and the delinquents lived in separate worlds. If nothing unexpected happens, there will never be a relationship between him and those delinquents for his entire lifetime. After doing a lazy stretch, he closed the campus webpage, leaned against his chair and emptied his mind. The weird thunderstorm in the morning kept resounding in his mind. The mind that was obviously emptied from time to time had lightning and thunder flashing past, causing his spirit to be unable to gain tranquility for a long time. The next day. The 2nd of June, Sunday, clear weather. Song Shuhang got off bed early. He originally intended to stay awake overnight, but the string of events yesterday kept making him feel strange. He had no idea why he lost the mood to stay awake overnight, and instead washed up to sleep early. Even if he wanted to do it tonight, the other roommates from the dorm would have returned. After getting up and washing up, Shuhang once again opened up the group chat software on the bottom right corner of the monitor. As before, elder cousin Zhao Yaya did not reply. It seems like he still has to wait for more 2 days. If after 2 days elder cousin does not reply, then I'll give her a call. Song Shuhang thought inside. After that he once again opened up the 9 provinces, 1, group. Every time he took a look, he would have a beautiful and great mood. But if he sees too much, he would easily be assimilated. The first piece of information in the group was from Su Clan's Chi, I've let everybody worry. Archelieu's lightning tribulation had a little accident, however I have already settled it. After the accident in Archelieu's lightning tribulation, he vented his temper. However, he was also found and brought away by me, and didn't cause too great of a disturbance. It was right at a place close to H City. There were several. Yep, there were dozens of tactless ordinary people knocked unconscious by Archelieu. No one died. I still have to bring Archelieu back for a trip to the Sioux clan's main branch next. I probably won't be online for the next few days. Anyways, everybody, please don't be worried. This was a message that was sent at 3 a.m. that morning. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. A report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 8, Soft Feather and Luo Xin Street. Chapter 8, Soft Feather and Luo Xin Street. It's good that nothing happened. I feel relieved now. I will inform Soft Feather so that she won't worry, and to avoid her wasting a trip towards H City. North River's loose practitioner entered a reply soon after. Song Shuhang felt that North River's loose practitioner was basically online for all 24 hours every day. He did not know how this person had so much energy. Could it be that his online habits are coincidentally the same as himself, the one with the name Song? Which was why every time he came online he happens to encounter North River's loose practitioner. That's not right. When Song Shuhang was online, he was online. When Song Shuhang was offline, he was still online, because every time Song Shuhang came online the chat records he sees all had North River's loose practitioner included inside it. It was like he didn't need sleep at all, as if he was a sacred warrior of the internet. Song Shuhang couldn't help but worry, because as of right now, the number of sudden deaths due to overnight computer usage are so high. If North River's loose practitioner continues on like that, will he someday die a sudden death too? This shall be noted down as well. When the time comes to leave the group I better advise him. Song Shuhang continued to pull the scroll bar downwards. After Sioux Clan's Chi was done talking, he greeted everybody once more, then went offline. Subsequently, at around 5 a.m. in the morning, Medicine Master came online and uploaded a photo, then added a question mark after the photo. That is a picture of a plant, one that Song Shuhang has never seen before. This plant grew curved, like a coiling dragon. At the tip of the plant there was a line of thorns, while the rhizome was purplish black. It was a very peculiar plant, with many great points which were worth admiring. Poison dragon grass. Hey, Medicine Master, do you have a need for this again? Didn't you cultivated some not too long ago? North River's loose practitioner was once again the first to reply. Experiment, all died. Medicine Master then sent a depressed emoji. Furthermore, that batch of poison dragon grass quality wasn't very good. Alright, I will contact you if I manage to get some. If the others see it they will definitely notify you as well. North River's loose practitioner replied. Want alive? Medicine Master added one more reply. Poison dragon grass. From the sound of it, it doesn't seem like a kind plant. It can't be that it's also for concocting pills, right? Will it poison someone to death? Song Shuhang was a little worried. He kept feeling that the people in the group were very good at seeking death. Wait, there seems to be something fishy here. Song Shuhang's hand trembled for a moment. His fingers moved back a little, up to where Sioux Clan's Chi had replied, then looked at it one more time. There were several. Yep, there were dozens of tactless ordinary people knocked unconscious by Archelieu. No one died. This sentence gave Song Shuhang a weird feeling, because he automatically thought of the group of delinquents that were wiped out. It can't be such a coincidence, right? If one were to say all of these were a coincidence, then the number of coincidences recently is a little too much, isn't it? Perhaps I should look at it from a different perspective. Perhaps it's not a coincidence, it's just me overthinking things. People are always like that. When they have doubts towards a certain topic in their hearts, they bring many unrelated things together to forcibly form a conclusion. Just like when suspecting someone stole their money, they will link many events onto this person's head, and the more they look at that person, the more they think they are looking at a criminal. He felt that his current state of mind was perhaps that suspecting someone is a thief mindset. I can't overthink this anymore. If I continue to think about it I will go astray just like the people in the group. Song Shuhang did a lazy stretch and prepared to go for a jog. The time of the day lies in the morning, moreover he felt his physique decline, he hasn't fully recovered from the flu and cough that has lasted for more than 10 days, and still coughs from time to time, it's torture. So he came up with an idea, and decided to run 1.5 kilometers in the morning to toughen his body. The goal is to persevere morning jogs for a whole month. At the same time, in Jiangnan Region's airport, a lady with waist-length hair walked out of the airport with a large suitcase. She had white skin, was tall, had long legs. She wore a white t-shirt, denim shorts, and a pair of sneakers for her slender feet, looking youthful and pretty. However, at this time the long-haired lady had a vexed expression as she looked around the gigantic airport. I dislike large places like this the most, it's so easy to get lost. Subsequently, she took out her cell phone and fiddled with it. Sweating all over from his morning jog, Song Shuhang felt freshness and clarity, something he hasn't felt for a long time. When he passed by the dining hall, he bought a steamed stuffed bun and soy milk as breakfast, and returned to the dormitory after his rapid and shallow breath stabilized. It's Sunday and there's still a whole day of free time left. What should I do? Should I go window read? Nibbling on the steamed stuffed bun, Song Shuhang thought inside. He then casually turned on the computer and got onto the school's webpage. Because he cared about the matter regarding the delinquents being knocked unconscious, he continued to pay attention to it. However, there wasn't a following report regarding the delinquents wiped out on the school's webpage, because the pitiful delinquents were still lying on the hospital beds, and not a single one had shown any signs of being about to gain consciousness yet. Which was why there was no way to find out who or what beat them into such a state. The students that previously visited them had brought this up before. Even though they were unconscious, the delinquents would from time to time make moans from pain. Due to their numbers being so great, they were placed into an enormous ward by the hospital. An approximate of 80 people's miserable shrieks, that scene was simply too beautiful, and extremely tragic. If it was only being knocked unconscious, they should wake up within a day or two, shouldn't they? It can't be that these delinquents have been beaten into vegetables, right? Song Shuhang softly spoke to himself. While letting his thoughts drift, he once again opened the chat group. During the time he went for a jog and had breakfast, there was a lot more new information in the group. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather, online via mobile Senior North River, I have already arrived at Jiangnan Region's airport. Does Senior Archie's side require any assistance? North River's loose practitioner was expected, online. He rapidly replied, Soft Feather, you finally came online. Archie had already found a Shalyu during the wee hours, and left H City. You need not worry about them, and can directly proceed to J City to deal with your matters at ease. If nothing bad happened then all is well. Soft Feather replied, then added another line, has Senior Archie already left H City? Yes, he left at dawn. North River's loose practitioner returned with another question. Could it be that you need a chi for something, Soft Feather? Soft Feather sighed, actually. I was hoping to meet up with Senior Archie. It would be best if somebody accompanied me to J City if possible. I am not too familiar with H City, Jiangnan Region and J City. I'm afraid that I might not be able to find my destination. Where are you going to? Right now cell phones have a function called navigation. It's very useful. It must be said that the inventions by modern people have many convenient uses. North River's loose practitioner passionately recommended. Many people in the group were unfamiliar with modern technology. North River's loose practitioner could be considered as someone the modern here. Hey, hello? Isn't there some problems with you two's conversation? Isn't this a classical Shinshurchunivya assembly point? Shouldn't you be recommending some ancient map instead? Or some compass-like treasure? If raised one level higher, he can even accept to open a teleportation portal, but he just can't accept cell phone navigation. I've tried it before, but the navigation software can't find the place I want to go to. Soft Feather gloomily replied. Of course she knows how to use navigation. Fact was she's only 25 this year. There was no difference between her and people of modern times in some regards. However, she was just more knowledgeable when it comes to the real world than other modern youngsters. Moreover, I'm bad with directions, I might not be able to find my destination even if I had navigation. Soft Feather added on. North River's loose practitioner consoled, no matter, after you advance to the 5th stage and are able to lift yourself into the air, with a higher viewpoint you won't lose your way again. As for now, you can get a taxi, usually, as long as there is an address, taxi drivers are able to send you to the destination. However, be careful not to enter an unlicensed taxi. Thank you, Senior, I will try that. Soft Feather thanked. If nobody suggested, she herself would have forgotten that there was a convenient mode of transport like taxis. North River's loose practitioner added on, where are you trying to go, Soft Feather? If you really can't find the place, I can help to ask if there are any fellow Taoists in the vicinity, perhaps they could lend a hand. It's in a part of J City called Luoshin Street, there should be an ancient temple there named Ghost Lamp Temple. The place I want to go to is this ancient temple. Soft Feather quickly replied. All right, I got it. I'll help you ask around, and will contact you if there's any information. North River's loose practitioner replied. Senior, I can't thank you enough. Soft Feather sent a smiley and then posted, I'll go find a taxi. Jiangnan Region's airport. That long-haired girl with a slim waist and long legs pulled along a large suitcase and walked out of the airport quickly. Her beautiful figure left many males she passed by unable to resist staring blankly at her. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9, The Other Luoshin Street. Chapter 9, The Other Luoshin Street. Song Shuhang was in Jiangnan region, with his good man character, he definitely wouldn't reject an effortless matter like leading the way. However, at that moment, he had the spirit to help but not the strength. Because University City was a 2-hour car ride from Jiangnan Airport. Jiangnan region was a county after all, its territory wasn't small. Moreover, Song Shuhang was unfamiliar with J City, and had never ever heard of that Ghost Lamp Temple before. All he knew was that J City was adjacent to the Jiangnan region, and was also a very well-known city within Huaxia. Because that place is also the holy site of various religion, the many religious people can cause eyes to blur. Every year, during the religion's festivals, the number of believers who make a pilgrimage to J City is enough to cause it to be packed to the point where not even an ant can squeeze its way through. There were as many temples there were hairs on an ox, trying to find a little temple in a city like that was truly difficult. Come to think of it, the name Luoshin Street sounds really familiar, have I heard of it before? Song Shuhang murmured. Nibbling on his steamed stuffed bun, Song Shuhang leaned back on the rocking chair and swayed. Searching for the words Luoshin Street in his mind, he tried to draw out the source of this mysteriously familiar feeling. Mankind's brains have always been strange, some memories will surface whether the host wishes to or not, yet when the host tries to recall that memory, they will not surface no matter how the host racks their brains trying to force it out. I probably heard this name from some news channel before, right? Shuhang gave up, and no longer wasted his brain cells on this matter. Soft Feather dragged the huge suitcase to the taxi stand. In barely a moment, there were several taxis moving towards Soft Feather. This proved that a pretty face is advantageous in any situation. Otherwise, solely based on the huge suitcase, many taxi drivers would dispel their thoughts of picking up this passenger. Miss, where to? A red taxi took up the first spot. The driver was a middle-aged man with a square face, speaking Mandarin with a heavy Jiangnan region's accent. Sir, do you know where Ghost Lamp Temple is? Soft Feather asked. Her voice was gentle, a stark difference from a youthful and lively appearance, but all these only made her all the more attractive. The middle-aged man with a square face thought hard and bitterly, and shook his head. Ghost Lamp Temple, I've never heard of it before. Seeing the middle-aged man with a square face shake his head, Soft Feather's heart sunk. Her little face was a little red, for she was extremely disappointed. Fortunately, the middle-aged man with a square face immediately asked, do you know which street it is in? I know, it's Luoshin Street. Soft Feather replied at once. Luoshin Street, I know of this place, and I'm very familiar with it, for I stay in that street. However, miss, are you sure you got the name of the temple right? I've stayed there for many years, and have never heard of this ghost lamp temple before. The middle-aged man with a square face seriously replied. Because of his vocation, he had a thorough understanding of all of the nearby areas. He was especially familiar with Luoxin Street where he stayed. To exaggerate a little, every inch of land had his footprint, yet he had never heard of the name Ghost Lamp Temple. Ah? Softfeather's little face turned even redder, however she immediately replied with resolution, then sir, please bring me to Luoxin Street. She was prepared to go there and ask around, if it truly cannot be done. Then she could only thicken her skin and call her dad. However, that is her final plan, and must not be used unless there truly is no alternative in sight. Miss, are you in a hurry? If you aren't, you may take a bus to Luoxin Street. Taking a taxi there would be a little expensive, for it's a 2-hour drive. The middle-aged man with a square face explained. It wasn't that he didn't want to earn money, but the fee to take a 2-hour taxi ride truly wasn't small. The other party obviously had no knowledge of the distance. If the distance and price wasn't clearly mentioned before the journey, a dispute could easily occur after arriving at the destination. That's all right, you only need to worry about bringing me there. Softfeather revealed a bashful smile. Money wasn't a problem for her at all. When the middle-aged man with a square face confirmed this, he was delighted inside. The amount that would be earned in this trip was pretty significant. All right then, you may enter the vehicle. The suitcase can be placed into the boot. As he said that, the middle-aged man with a square face opened up the boot, then opened his door to prepare getting off and helping to lift the suitcase. After all, that suitcase was very bulky. Where would this young lady find the energy to lift it up? However, when the middle-aged man with a square face opened his door and turned his head back, his mouth opened into the shape of an O, and couldn't close for a long time. What he saw was that the young lady who seemed weak and gentle lift up the huge suitcase with a single hand. She did not drag it up, hug it up or whatever. It was like she was merely lifting a small plate as she dexterously lifted up the suitcase with a single hand and placed it into the boot. Could it be that the suitcase looked big, but was actually very light? Just as he was thinking of that, he felt the car's rear slightly sink. The middle-aged man had been a taxi driver for many years, and had long achieved the stage of one with the car. Once the car's rear sunk, he could roughly estimate the weight of the object. This suitcase is probably over 60 kilograms, right? Maybe even heavier, approximately the weight of an adult male. Does this lady practice weightlifting? This truly is some godly innate strength. The middle-aged man with a square face swallowed his saliva. Fortunately, he was always a kind taxi driver. If it was someone with evil intent that schemed after seeing a beauty that met this lady, they would definitely brought down in a flash. Softfeather didn't know how shocking her actions were. After placing the suitcase in, she took 2 steps back to the car's rear door and got in. Miss, you're pretty strong, please sit tight. The middle-aged man with a square face laughed and stepped on the accelerator. The red taxi left the taxi stand and headed towards Luoxin Street. 9 provinces, 1 group. Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather, online via mobile Senior North River. I am headed towards Luoxin Street right now, but the taxi driver does not know of Ghost Lamp Temple. I intend to ask the residents there after arriving at Luoxin Street. Perhaps somebody would know. All right, I asked several people, however, nobody knows anything about it for now. Anyways, I will contact you if there's any information. North River's loose practitioner replied. Thank you, Senior. Softfeather sent a smiley and quietly formed a fist. With North River's loose practitioner's reply, her restless mood slightly calmed. To be honest, this was her first time traveling so far away from home alone. In the past, she always either had her father to keep her company or traveled only to regions close to Spiritual Butterfly Island. She kept feeling a little excited. Song Shuhang had not read the chat log above yet. Because he was too bored with having nothing to do, he once again went to window read. He carried the thick book he rented previously. This was a book that he hasn't finished reading. To him, if something like a book isn't read in the shop, it would lose a lot of its taste. Just like this handsome guy king instant noodles, the taste of it dry and the taste of it cooked is totally different. T.L. Rawls wrote instant noodles, but I believe he mean instead, maybe the author was trying to be funny, no idea here. Before he left, he coincidentally brought his cell phone with him. Song Shuhang doesn't have the habit of bringing his cell phone around with him. In present day, cell phones have more and more functions, similarly, the sizes of them also increased. Nowadays, it's nearly impossible to find a cell phone that only has the function of making phone calls. Due to the size of the cell phones becoming too big, Song Shuhang even used that thing as a landline telephone. 7% battery strength, it should be enough to use. There's not much left, but if it's only to pick up calls and reply messages, it should be enough to last him an afternoon. Thinking this way, he carried his phone, picked up his rented book and headed for the bookshop's bliss of window reading. Time flew past. Approximately 1.5 hours later. Strange, could it be that I got up in the wrong posture this morning? Song Shuhang placed the thick book in his hands back to the bookshelf. Unexpectedly, he couldn't continue reading. Regardless of whether it was fiction, car theories, manhua, or classical works, he totally couldn't extensively read any of them. This was the first time he met something like this in his lifetime. This is strange. Song Shuhang murmured, then sighed. He then casually picked out a book and headed for the renting counter. If he can't immerse himself in it, then window reading has no meaning. Thinking for a while, he decided to have a stroll around the vicinity of University City and relieve his boredom. When it comes to relieving boredom, the well-known spot near Jiangnan University must be mentioned, Foodie Paradise. I shall go eat something good. Foodie Paradise is a prosperous food street, 2 streets apart from Jiangnan University, requiring a 20-minute walk. But this little distance is absolutely incapable of stopping the march of the foodies. Over here, other than the airplanes that fly in the skies, and the 4-legged stools that stay on the ground, everything can be found. All appetites can be satiated. All this time, this place has been named Foodie Paradise, or Food Paradise, while its original name has instead been forgotten. What's this place called? Song Shuhang raised his head to look toward the street sign. Luoxin Street welcomes you, the sign with 5 bright and gold words brilliantly shined under the sun. Oh, that's right, this place is called Luoxin Street, great name. Shuhang thought that way, and entered the street. After walking 2 steps in, he fiercely turned around. He then quickly moved back to the large signboard, and stared at the 5 large bright and dazzling golden words. Luoxin Street welcomes you. He wasn't seeing things, it was Luoxin Street. Song Shuhang was speechless. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 10, A Brief Interlude While Strolling in the Streets. Chapter 10, A Brief Interlude While Strolling in the Streets. Shuhang previously thought for a long time, and felt that he had heard of the name Luoxin Street before, yet couldn't remember no matter how he tried. So it turns out it was here, the incredibly famous foodie heaven. That's not right, didn't that soft feather say Luoxin Street is in J City? This place is part of the Jiangnan region. Could it be that soft feather remembered the wrong address? Or could it be that J City and Jiangnan region both have a Luoxin Street? This is normal, city and county names are rarely repeated, but village names, street names, and so on are often repeated. The place Soft Feather wants to go must be the one in J City, and she should not be coming to Jiangnan region. Because he came out to relieve his boredom, Shuhang did not continue brooding over this. He walked while eating, and ate while strolling. He did not know how long he strolled for, but after he felt a little tired, he bought another 2 crispy chicken rolls, and sat on a bench provided for people to rest by the side of the road, and rested. Opposite the resting area was Luoxin Street's large public square. It had people walking in and out, and bustled with noise and excitement. The weather just turned warm, but it can never stop women's inborn love for beauty. Everywhere had dazzling spaghetti tops, midriff tops, miniskirts, low-waist hot pants, heels, and pointed-tipped sandals. Enchanting jade necks and cleavage, slim waists and jade legs, increasing the charm and loveliness of Luo Xin Street by 1,000 times. As long as one sat at the resting area, one could see the countless long legs sparkling with innumerable rays of light. Song Shuhang casually chose the resting area, and it was a great place to spot beauties. By his side were 3 dudes grading the beauty's legs. Did you guys see that? The red dress below the large electronic display on the left, that figure, those legs are at least 80 points. The fat dude with thick glasses pointed at the red dress figure. Arshu, your insight still needs more practice. 73 marks is the highest, her legs are long, but as a whole entity she is a little too skinny. Moreover, the proportion of the calf is somewhat short, affecting the entire package's beauty. Beside him a handsome man gave his professional opinion. Is that so? Glasses Fatty scratched his head, with a careful look. It truly was as the handsome man said. However, it would be impossible to tell if he did not look carefully. I think she can be 77 marks and above. After all, in reality beautiful legs like this are already hard to come by. We can't use the long leg celebrities or leg models as comparison. The last, short-haired man leaned against the bench and spoke lazily. Song Shuhang listened and couldn't help look towards where the glasses Fatty pointed. There was a lady slender legs wearing a red tight-fitting dress breeze and crystal sandals breeze walking. A woman who dares to wear a tight-fitting dress like that is usually the type that has confidence in her own body. Shuhang didn't have a leg fetish, but he still admits that this red dress lady was beautiful, her thighs were slender and fair. The owner of the pair of legs obviously takes great care of them. They say that when men look at women, a young boy looks at the face, when they wizen up a little they look at the boobs, and only mature men look at the legs. Shuhang felt that he definitely wasn't a mature man, because he had no inclination towards legs. Even if the street was filled with shining white legs, he wouldn't even bat an eye. He also wouldn't have the urge to grade like the 3 dudes over there. Towards his roommates who claimed that they want to kneel and lick the legs of celebrities from the neighboring country, Song Shuhang's inability to understand increased manifold. TL, I'm pretty sure he's referring to Korea here. Something like legs, men have it too. Women's legs are just a little more fair, a little more tender, there's nothing special about them, right? These were the thoughts in his head. If the 3 dudes learned of that, they would definitely have his face covered with spit. Hurry and look, it's a 100 marks, a 100 marks. Suddenly, the glasses Fatty spoke with excitement. He couldn't help raising his voice a little. Where? The handsome man asked. Although glasses Fatty's grading skills wasn't considered excellent, he was still someone with insight. Something like a 100 marks can't possibly be something he casually brought out. The lazy-looking short-haired man also sat up straight with curiosity and looked towards the direction Fatty was looking. As before, it was below the huge LED display. A beautiful, tall and slender figure walked out from a corner. She dragged along a huge suitcase, yet it didn't seem to take any effort on her part. Her long black hair reached her waist, and like a waterfall draping over her back, it fluttering in the wind. Despite the fact that she was just wearing sneakers, it was obvious that her legs were longer than the people in her surroundings. Every step she took was just about the same distance as an ordinary person's 2 or 3 steps. She was simply the role model to be a natural female movie protagonist. Even if she stood in the crowd doing nothing, she would give off the feeling of being a crane among a flock of chickens. A natural focal point for the masses. The black-haired beauty walked very quickly. In a few steps she caught up with the lady in the red dress, which was also the one these 3 dudes graded. All perfect things might not seem so dazzling if they were alone, but once there was something to compare it with, they would appear to be 100 times more dazzling. At this moment, the lady in the red dress became the object for comparison. When the black-haired lady walked past her, the 2 pairs of legs were obviously compared, and were graded. This comparison increases one's aesthetic perception, and the black-haired lady's legs seemed more and more dazzling. Arshu, I'm speechless. This truly deserves a 100 marks. The handsome man immediately stood up, straightened his clothes, and arranged his hairdo. What are you doing? The short-haired man asked. Picking her up. Such a perfect woman, it would be difficult to meet someone like that ever again in my lifetime. It doesn't matter whether I succeed or not, I have to attempt no matter what, otherwise I will regret this my whole life. The handsome man grinned, and his 2 rows of white teeth shined. He indeed possessed the talent to attract girls, and the aura of a winner in life, a dashing aura of sunshine. He wouldn't lose a thing if he failed, yet if he succeeded in picking her up, then it would be jackpot. Something like this had the possibility of 100 gains, and definitely no loss. Why not do it? At a time like this, a real man must have no fear for shame, and must march forth bravely. Soon after, the handsome dude squeezed into the crowd, and squeezed towards the black-haired beauty. Afterwards, in less than 2 minutes, the handsome dude returned crestfallen. You failed? So quickly? Glasses Fatty was puzzled. He knew his comrade had a 90% and above chance of failing, but his comrade was still quite handsome, and was a good talker. How can he fail so quickly? With his abilities, even if he failed at picking the beauty up, there shouldn't be any problem trying to chat with her for a moment, right? There wasn't a chance to pick her up. That beauty's legs are really long, and she walked very quickly. When she takes one step, I have to take several to keep up. I was even jogging behind her, yet I still couldn't catch up. The handsome dude had tears streaming down his cheeks. The short-haired man had a speechless expression. Kai, giggling sound. Song Shuhang, who was at the side, laughed to the point he nearly received internal injuries. These 3 dudes are real jokers. But to be honest, that black-haired beauty's legs were really dazzling. In this generation, the internet flourished. All types of beauties had emerged, and the masses were already exhausted from appreciating their beauty. But true gold does not fear fire. A beauty that truly possessed unique points will definitely cause the gazes of the people surrounding her to be firmly attracted to her for eternity. For example, the black-haired beauty from before, someone like that will definitely be remembered after a glance, the type that probably can't be forgotten within a short period of time. A chance to encounter beauties was only a brief interlude for strolling in the streets. After resting for a while, Song Shuhang got up and continued strolling around. I should buy some snacks back later, he thought inside his heart. Previously, when he caught a cold, his roommates took care of him. Since he was strolling in foodie paradise, he had to bring something back as a token of appreciation. I have no idea what they like to eat, so I'll just bring a serving of many types of tasty food back. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. A report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 11, Turn Back Suddenly, and Discover That Your Destined Person Is There, by the Waning Lantern Lights. Chapter 11, Turn Back Suddenly, and Discover That Your Destined Person Is There, by the Waning Lantern Lights. In the eyes of divination masters, determining the future is like seeing the outside world through a foggy window, full of different kinds of mysteries. But according to a very famous divination master, depending on different choices that people make, different futures will be created. But no matter which choice it was, it couldn't be by chance. Because in this world, there is no such thing as chance. There was only the inevitable. Even if a meeting between 2 people seems to be a coincidence, it is actually an inevitable matter. One by one, the things that inevitably happen push the wheel of history forward, developing into all kinds of inevitable futures. The main point of all that has been said is to simply convey one message, that is, divination masters' divinations are never wrong. Even if there is a mistake, that is only because the divination master's divination had revealed an inevitable future from a parallel world. Meanwhile, you are merely following another inevitable development into another future. Therefore, it's not the divination master who is wrong, but rather, the world. The above was what a street divination master who had divined countless times yet never divined correctly a single time used to defend himself. You've probably guessed it. That's right, this divination master is 9 provinces, 1, group's great copper trigram's immortal master. Although he wasn't a very reliable divinator, but when viewed from another angle, his words still contained some truth. Song Shuhang had never thought about going up to meet the black-haired and long-legged beauty. After all, the world was wide, how can there be so many coincidences? Yet he never imagined that after he strolled one circle, he would meet that lady again. He was just leaving the shop named Glorious Beef, carrying a large bag of specialties from Foodie Paradise in his hands that he prepared to gift to his roommates. When he took his first step out of the door, he saw the black-haired lady dragging the large suitcase in his direction. This time Song Shuhang truly experienced the power of long legs walks very fast firsthand. Despite the fact that she was still very far away when he spotted her, in a blink of an eye, the black-haired lady had already strode in front of him with a few steps. Shuhang slightly tilted his body to open a path, making it convenient for her to pass while dragging the large suitcase. "Thank you." The black-haired beauty's smile was gentle and bashful. She then entered the small shop behind him. Song Shuhang nodded faintly. It was about time for him to start making his way back to the dormitory. When he had just taken 2 or 3 steps forward, the black-haired beauty had already agilely bought the items she wanted, and simultaneously asked the shopkeeper about a matter. Song Shuhang inadvertently intruded upon their conversation, and unintentionally heard her question. When Song Shuhang heard the question the lady asked, it made the leg that he had raised freeze in midair. "Boss, may I ask if you've heard of a temple named Ghost Lamp Temple in the vicinity of Luoxin Street?" The shopkeeper pondered for a moment before he shook his head and said, "Ghost Lamp Temple? I've never heard of it. However, I've only moved in 2 years ago, so I'm not very familiar with many places in the vicinity. Young lady, you could try going over to one of those old shops to ask around. The time they've spent in Luoxin Street is much longer and they should know more." The shopkeeper was obviously a good person, and explained with great passion, it could also be that in this generation full of scammers, the black-haired lady possessed a halo that had a +100 increase in favorable impressions attribute. Ghost Lamp Temple, Luoxin Street? Naturally, Shuhang thought of the lady named Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather in the group. Did I hear wrongly? Thinking that way, Song Shuhang brought out the large cell phone from his pockets, and swiped his finger to unlock the screen. After that, he proficiently logged into the chatting software, and opened the 9 provinces, 1 group. After he had left, there were indeed more chat records from the group. First was a message left by Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather more than 2 hours ago. She said that she wasn't able to acquire information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple, but she had already taken a taxi towards Luoxin Street. She would then directly ask the locals there. Subsequently, 20 minutes ago, Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather left another message, "I've already arrived at Luoxin Street without a hitch. It's very crowded and lively here, completely different from what I imagined. This is a gourmet food street, and I saw many delicious-looking things here." It could be seen that she was in a good mood. Firstly, she arrived smoothly at Luoxin Street. Secondly, there was a lot of good food here. If she departed from Jiangnan Region's airport, that would be an estimated 2-hour car ride. After that was Luoxin Street with a lot of good food. Song Shuhang massaged his face. From Jiangnan Airport, even if she took a racing car, it wouldn't be possible to reach J-City in 2 hours, would it? Based on the duration of the taxi ride and Softfeather's description of her destination, there was about 80 to 90% chance she went to the wrong place. She basically never even arrived at J-City's Luoxin Street, and instead had made her way to the Foodie Paradise close to Jiangnan University. But if it truly wasn't a coincidence, then that super long-legged black-haired beauty, could she be Softfeather? Once he thought about how such a modern and fashionable beauty could be a Xinxiaju Nibia, Song Shuhang felt an inexplicable feeling of pain in his heart. However, it still wasn't enough to confirm that black-haired beauty was Softfeather just based on these. Because, by including the possibility that some special activities going on at the Ghost Lamp Temple in the Luoxin Street for J-City causing many people to rush there, then there would definitely be some of them who went to the wrong place just like the group's Softfeather. Such a probability was very small, but that didn't mean it was impossible. Song Shuhang's finger continued to swipe on the cell phone's display, however there wasn't any new information from the chat group. Even North River's loose practitioner wasn't online, perhaps he went to help look for Ghost Lamp Temple? Shuhang was continued touching the display when suddenly, Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather sent a voice message. Song Shuhang subconsciously opened it up. Softfeather exhaustedly dragged her suitcase out of the store with disappointment. This was already her 12th store. The suggestion by the shopkeeper earlier was great, but she had already asked both old and new shops, yet there wasn't a single one who knew of the Ghost Lamp Temple. Sighing, she drew out her cell phone and nimbly tapped on her phone, opened the chatting software, and opened the 9 Provinces, 1 group chat window. There was no news from Senior North River's loose practitioner, who she pinned her hopes on. Because it was not convenient to type with one hand, she made use of the voice message function. With a gentle voice she said, "Senior North River, have you received an information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple? I have gone around asking many shops in Luoxin Street, yet there wasn't a single person who possesses any information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. Please reply once you hear this." Releasing her thumb, the voice message was sent. She kept her phone. Before receiving news from North River's loose practitioner, she must continue asking around Luoxin Street shops regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. She mustn't give up. At the shop's entrance, Softfeather saw that the youngster who gave way to her was still standing by the side of the road, tapping and swiping on his phone. It was unclear what he was doing. Softfeather did not mind, and continued walking. Right at this time, the youngster's cell phone sent out a voice that was incomparably familiar to Softfeather. "Senior North River, have you received an information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple? I have gone around asking many shops in Luoxin Street, yet there wasn't a single person who possesses any information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. Please reply once you hear this." Isn't this my voice? Furthermore, it's the voice message that I had just sent. Softfeather first blankly stared, then felt an indescribable happiness bubbling in her heart. This man who looked like a youngster in front of her was actually a senior from 9 Provinces, 1 group. The lost and dejected Softfeather immediately felt like someone who caught a rope while being swept by the currents. With 3 steps, she stepped over to the side of the senior who looked like a youngster. Song Shuhang had just tapped on the voice message sent by Softfeather. Her gentle voice was truly pleasant to the ear. Suddenly, he felt someone approaching him from behind. What followed was a fragrant wind entering his nose. There was a faint scent of flowers, yet it was also similar to the body fragrance of ladies. Shuhang turned around, and saw the long-legged black-haired lady standing behind him with a happy face, and her gaze was fixed onto his cell phone. 9 Provinces, 1 group? The black-haired lady's gentle voice was full of happiness, as if she was meeting an old friend in a foreign place. At that moment, Song Shuhang didn't have the slightest idea of what kind of expression he should have facing this lady. There was no longer a need for her to introduce herself. If Song Shuhang still couldn't guess her identity, he should buy a block of tofu and kill himself with it. This is a Chinese joke, because it's not possible to kill yourself with tofu because of how soft tofu is. Spiritual Butterfly Island Softfeather? Song Shuhang felt that his voice was very unnatural and full of awkwardness. That's me. May I ask for Senior's Dao name? Softfeather finally calmed down and began carefully sizing up this senior. According to her memory, other than Su Clan's Ashalyu who went through tribulation yesterday, all other fellow Taoists from 9 Provinces, 1 group were her seniors. This senior in front of me has the appearance of 18 or 19 years old, but that definitely can't be his true age, right? His height is approximately 1.75 m, with a kind face, and looks really nice to chat with. A kind face. To be frank, that is basically having a face with looks that make someone seem like a good person, and it's also the type that is easily thrown into the friend zone. Moreover, she couldn't sense this senior's stage of cultivation. It seems like this senior has completely restrained his aura when he stands in front of me. It's like he has completely blended into the world of ordinary people. This is already the stage of returning back to the natural state like father, right? This was how Softfeather thought. Senior. Being addressed like this made Song Shuhang's liver hurt a little. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 12, Senior Song, your phone is also out of battery. Chapter 12, Senior Song, your phone is also out of battery. This black-haired lady looks approximately in her early 20s, but my 18th birthday just passed not too long ago, all right? Could it be that I look that old? Causing her to assume I'm a mature uncle? Furthermore, Dow name? He immediately thought of the group's Uni profile pages. Something like Yellow Mountain's True Monarch, North River's Loose Practitioner, XX Cave Master, XX Palace Master, and so on. He suddenly felt the pain in his liver intensify. Cough cough, you may call me Song Shuhang. Also, let's not mention the Dow name for now. Song Shuhang replied, he doesn't want others to think he has chunibia. Ah? Sorry senior. I forgot about that. Softfeather apologetically said. As a cultivator, it's common sense to never mention Dow names in public. She was just that happy and excited that she forgot. Cough, stop calling me senior. Song Shuhang coughed twice. He felt like the winter cough that he had slowly recovered from previously was suddenly showing signs of becoming more severe. Ah! Softfeather gasped softly, and her heart sank. This senior seems to be the type that is hard to get along with. That's to be expected. After all, it isn't possible that everyone in the group is as friendly as Senior North River. Plus, although this senior was obviously in Luoxin Street, he had not spoken up in the chat. Was it possible that he was a cold and indifferent person and had no intentions of offering help? As she thought of this, she could not help but feel disappointed. Just as Softfeather was letting her thoughts run wild, Song Shuhang added, calling me Song Shuhang directly is fine. Eh? Softfeather momentarily blanked. That shouldn't be the way, right? Please just call me Song Shuhang. If you really don't want to call me by my full name, then Shuhang, Xiaohang, Xiaosong are also fine as well, it's up to you. Song Shuhang resolutely replied. If Softfeather continued to call him senior every time she spoke, then he would feel very ashamed. After all, this was the real world. Song Shu. Senior. Halfway through calling his name, Softfeather felt rather awkward and still added the word senior. But her heart had relaxed completely in this moment, and a happy smile was revealed on her face. It seemed like this senior was a good person, and not cold and indifferent. If it was like this, then perhaps senior would help her? Song Shuhang raised his hand and rubbed his face vigorously. He had been completely defeated. Fine, call me whatever you want. Senior Song, did you come here to help me? Softfeather joyfully replied. Let's talk while we walk. Song Shuhang lifted the large bag he was holding. The two of them plus that huge suitcase were blocking the way, so it would be better if they found a quiet place to talk. Softfeather immediately quietly caught up to Shuhang. I saw the chat logs in the group. The place you want to go is the Luoxin Street of J City, isn't it? Song Shuhang said. J City's Luoxin Street. Please wait, senior, could it be? Softfeather was naturally very smart. From Song Shuhang's tone and attitude, she could guess the actual situation. With a teary, disappointed face, she said, could it be that this is not Luoxin Street? This is indeed Luoxin Street, however, this is Jiangnan City's Luoxin Street, not the one in J City. Song Shuhang sighed and replied. Softfeather's small face instantly turned beet red. This time, she truly was embarrassed. After a long while, she asked in a small voice, then, Senior Song, do you know how to get to J City's Luoxin Street? I have not been there before, but are you able to navigate the way? Song Shuhang smiled warmly. Softfeather knocked on her own head a few times before she once again took up her phone and swiped a few times. However, after swiping just twice, the phone suddenly rang with the soothing sound of music before the screen went dark. Softfeather lifted her head and looked toward Song Shuhang. Those were a pair of large, watery eyes. Senior Song, my phone ran out of battery. Song Shuhang felt as though his liver ached with a vague pain. This black-haired beauty was a natural klutz. But he still tossed his phone over. Then use mine. Thank you, senior. Softfeather happily received Shuhang's phone and swiped on it. Suddenly, The phone also emitted a short and loud sonorous music, and the phone's display turned dark. Soft Feather lifted her head another time as she looked at Song Shuhang. Those watery eyes had already misted over. Senior Song, your phone is also out of battery. Fuck! Song Shuhang only just recalled that when he left the house, his phone was only at 6% battery. After he had left the dormitory for close to 3 hours and surfed the net just now, it just so happened that at this moment, the phone went flat. Awkwardly taking back his phone, Shuhang asked, Soft Feather, are you in a hurry to get to Ghost Lamp Temple? Although I'm not in a hurry, the faster the better, problems might occur the more things are delayed. Soft Feather's voice was as gentle as before. If she takes too long, her father would return from Senior Mad Saber 3 Waves' house, and he will catch her and bring her home. Indeed, this was also the reason why she had thrown off Mad Saber 3 Waves in the group chat earlier. If her daddy came home, then she couldn't sneak out anymore. Then, how about you go to the dormitory with me? I'll use my computer to check the route for you while you take that chance to charge your phone. However, my dormitory is a little more than 20 minutes away, is that fine? Song Shuhang suggested. Song Shuhang is a man who is as he looks, he has a good-natured looking face, and thus is a good old man in his bones. So no matter what, he could never do something like tossing Soft Feather aside. The truth was, other than gays, there would be very few men who could mercilessly abandon such a beauty. Dormitory? Is that where Senior is living in seclusion? Soft Feather's eyes glowed as she said, a 20-minute journey is no problem at all. Then, shall we? Song Shuhang asked. Soft Feather vigorously nodded, and pulled her large suitcase in pursuit of Shuhang's back. A truly marvelous target for kidnapping. Song Shuhang was somewhat worried in his heart since he kept feeling that 2 sticks of lollipops would be enough to abduct this girl. There's a proverb that says, when men and women pair up together, all labor isn't tiring. According to reason, when men and women do something together, they will have multiple times the energy. However, after Song Shuhang walked for 5 minutes with Soft Feather, he felt short of breath and much more tired. He bitterly smiled as he looked at Soft Feather beside him. The words spoken by the handsome dude among the 3 at the public square surfaced in his mind, that beauty's legs are really long, and she walked very quickly. When she took 1 step, I had to take several to keep up. I was even jogging behind her yet I still couldn't catch up. Long legs truly have a large advantage. Her single step was equivalent to 2 steps from him. Soft Feather had already tried her best to lower her pace, yet Shuhang still needed to jog. How can this not be tiring? Senior, you seem to be panting? Soft Feather looked towards Shuhang in confusion. This cannot be, right? We've only been walking for 5 minutes, how could this make a senior with great achievements in cultivation gasp for breath? Let's walk slowly, there's no hurry. Song Shuhang adjusted his breathing pattern. Oh. Soft Feather pretended to understand yet didn't seem to understand as she nodded. She felt that this senior was in a condition that didn't seem right, as if his physical capabilities were very low. But she was an intelligent lady, and respected others' privacy. Since Senior didn't say, then she definitely wouldn't be nosy, so as to not provoke hostility. Therefore she took the initiative to match his pace. The strides of her long legs shrunk, until she maintained the same as Song Shuhang's strides. Song Shuhang finally felt a lot more relaxed. The 2 of them had already left Luoxin Street, and walked further and further away. What was a great coincidence was that behind them, the 3 brothers who were grading various kinds of beautiful legs were carrying all kinds of large and small bags as they left Luoxin Street. 100. It's 100 again. Fatty Ushu excitedly pointed towards Soft Feather's back figure. The handsome man immediately perked up. Where? This time, I must catch up to her. You've no hope. Short-haired guy lazily replied, there's already a man by her side. The handsome man looked at Song Shuhang who was at the side of Soft Feather and instantly lost hope. She's already taken, god damn it. Although the flower already has an owner, the hoe is merciless. As long as the hoe is wielded properly, there's no wall that can't be dug till it falls. Proceed bravely. Ushu chuckled and said, I don't have any interest in entering other people's walls. At this point, the handsome man unexpectedly displayed his bottom line. But suddenly, the handsome man fixed his eyes onto Song Shuhang's back. Hey, have you guys noticed that that guy seems a little familiar? Yep, it's normal that you find him familiar. Because when we were discussing the girl who scored 100 points at the plaza earlier, he was sitting right beside us. Short-haired guy continued to speak lazily. Fatty Ushu. Handsome man. He was sitting right beside us, he was sitting right beside us. This sentence reverberated endlessly in the handsome man's ears. The handsome man resolutely knelt onto the ground. Is this the fabled god of strategies from the legends? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 13, If. Chapter 13, If. A school dormitory is a wondrous place, the ladies' dormitory is forbidden ground for the males, any male who dare take a single step into that minefield all receive the death penalty. But to the ladies, the male dormitory is like their vegetable garden at home. They can enter or leave as and when they want to. Therefore, Song Shuhang did not encounter any obstacles bringing a girl into his dormitory. Furthermore, since it was Sunday, a majority of the students living in the dormitories went out to have fun, or stayed in the dormitory to play games. When Song Shuhang brought Soft Feather back, it didn't attract much attention. Shuhang's dorm room was on the second story, and there was an elevator in the dormitory. However, most of the people living in the dormitory all take the elevator. Since it's only one floor, taking the stairs to his room is much faster than taking the elevator. Shall I help you bring up your suitcase? Song Shuhang looked at the huge suitcase pulled by Soft Feather. As a man, offering to carry a lady's suitcase and bags are things that mustn't be declined. Sorry to trouble Senior then. Soft Feather bashfully smiled, and pushed the huge suitcase to Song Shuhang. During the journey, Song Shuhang saw Soft Feather drag that huge suitcase the whole time. When they passed by areas where there were uneven roads, she would even carry it past those roads like it was a very simple task. Therefore, he assumed that this huge suitcase wasn't filled, and should be pretty light. When he gripped the suitcase, and tried to pull it upwards, his face immediately flushed. He only managed to lift the suitcase a small bit after amassing his strength. What the fuck, this box is at least 50 to 60 kilograms, and nearly the weight of an adult male. He widened his eyes, and stared at Soft Feather, and stared at her soft and slender hands. This girl, is she secretly a tomboy? For the whole journey, she pulled along this thing that is about 120-130 jin like she was flying. Wasn't it exhausting? TL, 1 jin is 0.5 kilograms, no idea why author bothered to use it since kilograms is above. And I naively thought that she was a good target for kidnapping? Simply with this strength of hers, anybody who wants to kidnap her had better prepare a coffin. Senior? Soft Feather looked towards the senior, puzzled. Cough. Let us take the elevator. Song Shuhang quickly decided and said. With his strength, there's no problem for him to carry this box up, but it would be very tiring. Oh. Soft Feather pretended to understand, but didn't seem to understand as she nodded. This has been mentioned before, she is a good lady, and won't ask superfluous questions. Furthermore, as a guest, she will not interfere with the host's decisions, for the guest should always follow the host's intentions. The elevator slowly rose. At a time like that there was basically nobody using the elevator, so there was no need to wait. There wasn't a single soul in the dormitory room. His roommates usually return around 3 to 4 p.m, there were times they even came back at night. The dormitory room wasn't considered large, being made for only 4 people to live in. Although the place was small, it had everything necessary. There was an attached bathroom, a balcony, a washboard, and a small kitchen. Take a seat, would you like something to drink? Song Shuhang turned on the computer, and let Soft Feather sit down. Soft Feather obediently sat down, and replied, Jade Spirit Vein Tea. Song Shuhang was confused. Jade Spirit Vein Tea? What's that? A new beverage? Why haven't I heard of it before? He blanked out for a moment, then quickly remembered this long-legged beauty's identity. Don't just see her as a youthful and pretty girl, she's a patient deeply afflicted with chinibia. This so-called jade spirit vein tea should be something created by the minds of those chinibia patients in the chat group. Song Shuhang only felt his liver start to faintly hurt again. I don't have those kind of things here temporarily, but I have orange juice, clean water, Coke and milk, pick one. Song Shuhang straightforwardly gave her a multiple-choice question. He was afraid that Soft Feather might ask him for frightening things like thin-riching dragon blood tea, phoenix liquid, and so on. Soft Feather was stunned. Senior's place doesn't even have jade spirit vein tea. One must know that jade spirit vein tea is the spirit tea that is most commonly served by cultivators to receive guests. It contains very little spiritual qi, but the tea is full of fragrance, with a rich taste that can last for a long time. It's the most economic tea for entertaining guests. Moreover, one can drink it by themselves if they feel like it, and it can even one's strengthen physique. Although the effects aren't as miraculous as pills, jade spirit vein tea's price is cheaper than pills by thousands of times. As long as one is a cultivator, it's essential to possess this, right? Wait, I got it! Senior is living here in seclusion, in the city, living like ordinary people. It is said that to temper themselves, every 150 years, some seniors would live in with ordinary people and follow their way of life, and truly live like an ordinary person. That is called realm of mortal tempering. Although this cannot increase their strength, this can make one's will more resolute, and make one's spirit more clear and bright. Then, Senior, please give me orange juice. Thank you. Soft Feather revealed a sweet smile. All right, give me a moment. After a short while, Song Shuhang carried over a large cup of orange juice poured from the refrigerator in the kitchen. Soft Feather received the orange juice. Thank you, Senior. You're welcome. Song Shuhang replied. This was a good lady, good character, polite. It's a pity that she had Chu Uni. He sat in front of the computer and connected to the internet. He proficiently opened up Baidu Maps and entered J City, Luoxin Street. TL, in case you don't know this, Baidu is like Google in China, and Google is also banned there. Very quickly, the map marked out the location of Luoxin Street in J City. I've checked, this place is a little far from J City's Luoxin Street. Song Shuhang said. Originally, taking a taxi from Jiangnan Region's airport to J City's Luoxin Street requires 5 hours or so. But Soft Feather mistook her destination. Luckily, Jiangnan University City was bordering J City, so something like going north when the destination was south did not occur. She only stumbled upon the wrong path midway. Right now, if she takes off from Jiangnan University City, the journey to J City's Luoxin Street requires another 3.5 hours, and this is without considering the road traffic condition. To be honest, the traffic of these roads are incredibly inferior. The real amount of time needed to reach there is approximately 5 hours or so. Soft Feather moved over, and when she saw the long distance, she couldn't help but open her mouth wide. Senior, for such a long distance can a taxi go there? Well, they can, but I'm afraid that not many of them will be willing to do so. Song Shuhang replied. He then explained to Soft Feather. A 5-hour car journey is a little far, although the various cities in the vicinity of Jiangnan region can go from one city to another. Most of the taxi's drivers work on shifts. Furthermore, going there takes 5 hours, and returning takes another 5 hours. In total it's a 10-hour car journey. How many taxi drivers would want to do this? This is something that isn't a good deal even if there were incentives. Then what do we do? Soft Feather asked. Take a train. Luckily, there's a train station pretty close to J City's Luoxin Street, Black Elephant Station. This university city's vicinity also has a station like this. Taking a train is also faster than taking a taxi, and it would take at most 2 hours to arrive. Song Shuhang explained. Then what time shall we leave? Soft Feather's eyes shone. No rush, train tickets can now be booked on the same day. Let me see, the train from University City towards Black Elephant Station takes off at 4 p.m. So you will make it as long as you collect the ticket and enter the station by 3:30 p.m. Ooh? Wait! What time are we leaving? We? This lady can't be thinking that I will accompany her to J-City's Luoxin Street, right? I still have classes tomorrow, I'm still a mere student, and can't just leave as I please. Then senior, let us quickly book 2 tickets online. Do you need my identity card? Soft Feather happily said she felt very lucky that she was able to meet someone willing to help her like Senior Song. Cough cough, us? Song Shuhang's cold cough has relapsed. You mean you want to book 2 tickets? You and me? Ah? Senior isn't accompanying me there? Soft Feather stared blankly, and her face immediately blushed. She was indeed too excited earlier, and assumed that Song Shuhang would accompany her to J-City. She didn't even ask for Senior's input, it was too rude of her. Senior, I was too rude earlier, and didn't ask for Senior's opinion before acting on my own initiative. Senior, may I ask if you can accompany me on a trip to J-City's Luoxin Street? To be honest, I'm bad with directions, I'm afraid I won't be able to find Ghost Lamp Temple. Soft Feather beseeched. Song Shuhang sighed, and rejected her. Although I wish to help, I'm afraid I'm powerless in this matter. The train leaves at 4 p.m., so it will be at least 6:30 p.m. in the evening when it reaches. It is unknown what Soft Feather wants to do there, and what time she will be done with her matters there. But one thing is for sure, I wouldn't be able to get back by noon tomorrow. Yet he has classes at noon tomorrow. Soft Feather was immediately incredibly disappointed. She's a lady whose thoughts are written all over her face. Senior, is it because you don't have time? Yep, it's because I have classes at noon tomorrow. Song Shuhang answered. Looking at the face of Soft Feather that looked like she was about to kneel, he suddenly felt that his rejection earlier was a little too stern, and was worried that it hurt this lady's fragile heart. Thinking of that, he negotiated, What I mean is, Soft Feather, if you're not in too much of a hurry, I do have the time to accompany you to J-City next Friday. I am currently a student, and only have rest days on Saturday and Sunday. Next Friday? Soft Feather was still disappointed. Although she could wait 1 or 2 days, 5 days is a little too long. Her father might enjoy messing with people, but he obviously wouldn't stay and play at Mad Saber 3 Waves Place for half a month. However, she suddenly thought of something, and her eyes shined brightly. She seriously asked, Senior Song, if you don't have classes tomorrow afternoon. And I'm only hypothesizing, can you accompany me to J-City then? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 14. Let me send 2 chests of medicinal ingredients as my gift of thanks. Chapter 14. Let me send 2 chests of medicinal ingredients as my gift of thanks. Cough, cough, Soft Feather, if the matters you want to do don't require much time, then perhaps it's possible. Song Shuhang chuckled. But tomorrow's afternoon class was planned even before school reopened. There's no way it would be cancelled unless there was a special reason. Shuhang did not want to be entangled in this topic for too long, and immediately changed the subject. Soft Feather, the place you're attempting to go to is Ghost Lamp Temple, right? Why didn't you confirm its location before setting off? The innocent young lady was easily swayed into a different subject. Yes, I only know that the destination is at J-City Luoxin Street, and had my martial nephews book the air ticket before rushing over. I never expected Ghost Lamp Temple to be this hard to find. Martial nephews. There's still such a thing in this day and age? While lost in thought, Song Shuhang tapped on the keyboard, and entered J-City, Luoxin Street, Ghost Lamp Temple on the search bar. There was information on J-City and Luoxin Street, but no information on Ghost Lamp Temple at all. There was no sign on the map either. It should either be a very small temple, or it had already closed down long ago, right? Senior Song, can you let me borrow your computer? I want to gather information myself. Also, perhaps Senior North River from the group has some news. Soft Feather suddenly said. Song Shuhang nodded. He first logged out of his chat account, then got up from the seat. Softfeather sweetly smiled, sat down, and proficiently typed in her chat credentials. The group's North Rivers loose practitioner as before didn't reply. It was rare for this senior to stay offline for so long. Xu Hang thought he was a true 24/7 internet warrior. Softfeather was a little disappointed. She closed the chat window and began searching for all the information regarding Luoxin Street and its surrounding temples. She began to guess whether Ghost Lamp Temple no longer existed, or it had already changed its name. Song Shuhang watched from the side for a while, when he suddenly remembered that both his and Softfeather's phones were out of battery. "Softfeather, give me your phone. I have a charger here, it should take only an hour or so to fully charge," Song Shuhang said. "Thank you, senior." Softfeather quickly took out her phone and handed it over to Song Shuhang. Shuhang received it, and brought his phone to charge at the same time as well. When Song Shuhang turned around, Softfeather's hands danced on the keyboard at lightning speeds, *************. In that moment her hand speed was at least 900 APM. With such hand speeds, if she became a professional gamer, she could become a god that schooled the others. APM is a term that means actions per minute. It's often used in MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena, games. E.g. StarCraft, LOL, Dota. On the computer, more and more windows rapidly popped up and closed, many web pages opened and refreshed. Very soon, a male student's information was displayed. A half-body portrait of Song Shuhang with a wide smile, and his personal information beside it. Song Shuhang, Jiangnan University's Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculty's 19th Department 43rd Class. Soon after a window quickly popped up, it was Song Shuhang's class timetable. What immediately popped up after was Monday afternoon's class. Professor Ren Shui. That was a young, promising and handsome professor. He stood tall and straight, wore a black-framed spectacles, with a gentle smile on his face. He could be classified as the type of man that effortlessly attracts the hearts of all the young maidens wherever he goes. Everything happened in a flash. After acquiring the information she wanted, Softfeather once again closed all of the web pages at high speeds. A class that had been scheduled for a long time naturally wouldn't casually be cancelled, but accidents always happen in the world. For example, the teacher in charge of the class getting hit by a car and hurting his leg, missing a step and spraining his leg, accidentally falling off the bed and spraining his leg, getting bitten by a dog on his leg. And so on, anyways, all kinds of leg injuries that would cause hospitalization. That way, tomorrow's afternoon class should either be suspended or delayed for a couple of days, right? This was what Softfeather thought in her heart. She felt that this idea of hers was fantastic, and secretly praised herself inside. On the other side of town, in the apartment building for teachers over 10 kilometers away. Teacher Ren Shui, who was playing with his daughter, suddenly shivered for unknown reasons, and immediately sneezed multiple times. He rubbed his nose as he thought. There's another schoolgirl thinking of this handsome and charismatic teacher again? Oh kids, being too handsome also causes headaches, don't you know he's already married and has a career? After Softfeather closed the web page, she stealthily turned around to look at Song Shuhang. Realizing that he was still on the other side trying to charge the phones, she quietly breathed a sigh of relief, giving off a feeling like she was up to mischief behind her senior. At the same time, after she investigated so much information, her instincts told her. Senior Song seemed more and more like an ordinary person. She once again thought of the scene and the word Song Shuhang said when they met, "Call me Little Song," or even Shuhang, "Please don't call me Senior anymore." Is it because Senior Song's realm of mortal tempering skills are too profound, or is it just her misunderstanding something? After closing all of the web pages, Softfeather stretched her fingers. Soon after, her gaze fell onto the open notebook beside the computer. On it was a dazzling list of medicine names. It was precisely the simplified body tempering liquid posted by Medicine Master from 9 provinces, 1 group. Shuhang initially wanted to bring this to his cousin Zhao Yaya for research, however it doesn't include fresh Overlord Branch, 9-yang Scarlet Flame Bamboo, Morning Dew Mysterious Grass and the other medicinal ingredients that are brimming with the smell of Chuyuni. Senior Song is also researching this pill recipe? Soft Feather wondered in her heart. However, she quickly realized that the recipe copied by Song Shuhang didn't seem to be the complete version. Why did Senior only copy down the simple and ordinary medicinal ingredients? Why didn't he include morning dew, mysterious grass, and some of the other ingredients? Wait, could it be that Senior Song actually wants to go deeper with the philosophy of Senior Medicine Master's recipe? To take another step forward in lowering the costs of producing the body tempering liquid? When she thought of it this way, Soft Feather's eyes immediately shone bright. Coincidentally, right as Song Shuhang turned around, he saw Soft Feather staring at his notebook. This is bad, written on it is that uni pill recipe. This is truly like having mud fall on the crotch of his pants, even though it wasn't poop, it is now poop. Soft Feather definitely thinks that I am her kindred spirit, a person who is also deeply afflicted by Xianxia Chunibia. Sure enough, Soft Feather opened her mouth to ask a question that felt full of Uni to Shuhang. Senior, are you also researching Senior Medicine Master's recipe? How many furnaces can you succeed within one try? Soft Feather happily asked with the mentality of one asking for guidance from her senior. She followed the recipe provided by Senior Medicine Master and attempted many times. Because her control over the flames was insufficient, she only succeeded 3 out of 10 times. It's a pity that although she likes concocting pills, she doesn't have the slightest talent in it. Wasting medicinal ingredients like that, if other cultivators saw, they would definitely drown her in spittle. However, she has a strong and rich father. A small amount of wasted medicinal ingredients for concocting body tempering liquid is just like wasting a drop of water in their pond at Spiritual Butterfly Island, an extremely trivial matter. I didn't concoct. Song Shuhang looked like he was about to cry. He had indeed been taken to be her kindred spirit. Why? Could it be that Senior Song wants to further improve Senior Medicine Master's recipe? Soft Feather's eyes sparkled as she excitedly spoke. Song Shuhang was silent. He originally wanted to reply by saying that he can't possibly be concocting a strange Shu-Uni pill like this, but seeing the glittering light in Soft Feather's eyes, he felt that it wasn't right to hurt this lady. After thinking for a long time, he found a rather honest answer. Actually, it is because medicinal ingredients are not convenient to find here. Due to many complicated reasons, I don't have any medicinal ingredients on hand, that's why. I simply didn't have the opportunity to concoct. What he said was fact. Among the medicinal ingredients in the recipe, even after eliminating those Xuanhuan Chu-Uni ingredients, the other ingredients added together aren't cheap. One must know that precious medicinal ingredients like ginseng are priced by per liangs. TL 1 liang equals 50 grams. As a student, he simply couldn't buy it, not even if he sold his kidney. Ah? I'm so sorry, Senior, so there was a reason like this. Soft Feather nodded and said, while delighted in her heart. Although she didn't know why Senior Song doesn't even have the medicinal ingredients for a mere body tempering liquid, in Spiritual Butterfly Island such medicinal ingredients can be stacked to be as tall as a mountain. Senior, after I return, let me send 2 chests of medicinal ingredients as my gift of thanks. Soft Feather insisted. This was how she planned to repay Shuhang. In any case, by hook or by crook, she had already decided to have Shuhang help her look for Ghost Lamp Temple. 2 chests of medicinal ingredients, these words sounded so domineering. To reinterpret these words as something more straightforward, it means, Senior, I'll send you 2 boxes of ginseng as a gift of thanks. If the interpretation above is still not blunt enough, then take a look at this version. Senior, I'll send you 2 boxes of gold bars as my gift of thanks. The value of the medicinal ingredients Soft Feather wanted to send was definitely many times more expensive than gold bars. It was a pity that at this moment Song Shuhang simply didn't know the value of these 2 chests of medicinal ingredients that Soft Feather mentioned, otherwise he would have knelt to this tyrant long ago. If you find any errors, ads pop-up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 15, Professor Renshui's Injury. Chapter 15, Professor Renshui's Injury. In Song Shuhang's mind he thought, I'm afraid these 2 chests of medicinal ingredients are various kinds of weird things, right? At the very least it won't be expensive items. So he casually said, "Then I'll first thank you. By the way, do you have an account for the ticket booking website?" Softfeather shook her head. It didn't matter whether it was an air ticket or land ticket, she had never needed to book one herself. Her family had many servant disciples in spiritual Butterfly Island. "Pass me your identification card then, I'll book a ticket for you in a moment," Song Shuhang replied. "All right." Softfeather obediently handed over her identification card, then asked, "Senior Song, may I go look around on the balcony?" "Don't be so reserved, do whatever you like." Song Shuhang smiled as he spoke. "What a good and polite lady, a pity she's a Chu Uni." Softfeather bashfully grinned, then walked to the balcony and surveyed the outside. On the east side of the balcony was a wide path and the school's garden, with nothing blocking the view. Although this was only the second floor, the field of view was rather vast. Softfeather first carefully observed Song Shuhang, then sneakily executed a small magic to cancel energy fluctuations to hide her following actions, so that Senior Song didn't find out. With her preparations done, she stealthily took out a pair of contact lenses from her pocket and put them on. "Don't look down on these. These are magical treasures personally refined by spiritual butterflies, respected sage, desiring 1,000 miles eyes, take it up a notch." The name was a little long, but this was basically an upgraded version of 1,000 miles eyes. Once the lenses are put on, it's like the name implies, it could give the person a view from high altitudes, like a god overlooking the land. This was the painstaking creation of a father who knew his daughter easily gets lost. It was for his daughter to have a bird's eye view of an area when she loses her directions and to help her find the correct path. It was full of fatherly love. They say that a daughter is like a father's lover in his previous lifetime. Sure enough, these words were right. If it was a son, spiritual butterflies respected safe definitely wouldn't put so much thought into this. A proper adult man getting lost, wouldn't that be humiliating if it was known? If you can't find the path, don't you know how to tear down whatever is in the way and take a straight path towards the destination? To advance bravely is a man's dream. TL, the a man's dream here has the exact same meaning words as Otoko no Roman in Japanese, if you know what that means. Putting aside this matter, let's get back to Softfeather. Softfeather used the magical treasure's godly view to quickly lock onto Jiangnan University's teachers' apartments. Then following the intelligence, smoothly locked onto that tall and scholarly Professor Renshui who wore a pair of black-framed spectacles. At this moment, the innocent teacher Renshui was having an afternoon nap with his daughter who was just 6 months old. Because having an afternoon nap with his daughter could easily lead some gentlemen to misunderstand, it was necessary to add in the daughter's age. To once again reinforce that statement, this was a 6-month-old daughter. Everything proceeded extremely smoothly, as if there was a god lending a helping hand. Found it! Softfeather was happy inside, and her palms joined together. Sorry, I'm really sorry, I will definitely compensate you, but right now you must injure your leg and get hospitalized. When she joined her palms, there was a golden talisman flickering. Things like talismans were usually one-time single-use items, but there were also high-grade merchandise that could be reused many times. Without a doubt, the one in Softfeather's hands was a high-grade tool. Only second-generation cultivators like Softfeather who had a rich father would waste high-grade talismans in this manner. It wasn't easy to make high-grade talismans. Although they could be repeatedly used, they still had a limit. The more it's used, the sooner it breaks. When ordinary cultivators attain a high-grade talisman, they would even roll it up, make an incision and insert it into their body. The gold talisman power began moving under Softfeather's control. Far away, at the teacher's apartment building. While teacher Renshui was asleep, a force suddenly pushed him, and he fell off the bed. What was very unfortunate was, his leg was at an angle which it could easily get hurt. Therefore, crash, crack, there was the sound of something twisting. Hiss! Teacher Renshui woke up from the pain and groaned. He was immediately in cold sweat, and the sprained leg rapidly swelled up. But so as not to disturb his cute daughter who was sleeping, he tightly gripped onto the quilter blanket, tightly clenched his teeth and sent his screams back to his stomach. Pity all the parents of the world. With his teeth still clenched, Teacher Renshue quickly rubbed his ankle. He was obviously experienced. With a sprain of this level, there was no need to be hospitalized. He just needs to rub a little Honghua ointment and rest, and it should be fine the next day. After rubbing for a while, Teacher Renshue stood on one leg and hopped towards the refrigerator while leaning against the wall. However, Softfeather's magic hasn't ended. Her objective was to send this pitiful teacher into the hospital. Teacher Renshue thought it was an accident that he fell off the bed and hurt his knee. He didn't know that there was a mysterious force secretly trying to hurt his leg to the point of hospitalization being required. Meaning, he had no idea how dangerous it was for him to lean against the wall and hop on one leg. It was without doubt that this way of moving forward was incredibly suitable for him to hurt himself again. Teacher Renshue hopped, and suddenly his hop missed. Asterisk crack asterisk, this time it was the sound of bones breaking. It was his perfectly fine leg, fractured. The injury this time was more serious than his injury on the other leg. Asterisk hiss, asterisk, Teacher Renshue crashed into the ground. With his eyes wide open, he sucked in a cool breath. This time he was in so much pain that tears appeared. A man's tears do not easily fall, they only fall for heartbreaking matters. He gazed upon his sprained leg, and his broken leg, and his eyes immediately turned moist. But there was no choice other than to resign himself to bad luck. After sucking in cool breaths for a while, he carefully took out his phone and made a call to his lord wife, requesting backup. His lord wife was also a teacher at Jiangnan University. Because his daughter was around, it wasn't a good idea for him to directly call for an ambulance. He has to wait for his wife to return so that she can take care of his daughter while he is sent to the hospital. When she heard her husband narrate the experience of injuring the two legs, Teacher Renshue's wife felt worried, yet also felt that what happened was funny. After hastily requesting leave for a single class, she rushed back home. After Teacher Renshue ended his call with his lord wife, he made a call to the school management, requesting leave for his 3 classes tomorrow afternoon. With the condition his 2 legs were in, he definitely had to be hospitalized, and so he naturally had to let the school rearrange the classes. Done. Softfeather nodded with satisfaction, and stored her gold talisman. With this, her objective has been completed. Since Teacher Renshue requested for leave, tomorrow afternoon's class would be cancelled. If there aren't classes tomorrow, Song Shuhang would be free. If Shuhang is free, he can accompany her to J City. Look! It really was that simple. With the matter settled, Softfeather was in a great mood. After she returned into the room, she noticed that Song Shuhang was on the ticket booking website booking train tickets for her. Senior Song, how about you book a ticket for yourself as well? Perhaps you don't have afternoon classes tomorrow? Softfeather moved forward and gently prodded. Ha ha, if there truly aren't classes I will book one more ticket. Song Shuhang joked. The moment he said that. Asterisk ding dong, asterisk. At this time, the school's email network suddenly had a pop-up. Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculties 19th Department 43rd Class students please take note, as Teacher Renshue is injured and hospitalized. Tomorrow afternoon's Mathematical Sciences Statistics class will be swapped with Professor Smith's University English class. Please notify each other and make the appropriate preparations. Thank you. This information was repeatedly broadcasted 3 times. Furthermore, it was set to be rebroadcasted once an hour. Jiangnan University's management moves very fast and works very efficiently. From the moment Teacher Renshue made a call requesting leave, till this message was sent, only a minute or 2 had passed. Who? Teacher Renshue is injured? What a coincidence. However, tomorrow's lesson is changed to English class. Do I have to attend that old-fashioned class taught by that old fellow Smith? Song Shuhang muttered to himself. But Softfeather, who stood by his side, suddenly had her eyes moistened. This was like kicking a ball 1 feet forward, only to have the goalpost shifted 10 feet away. However, as someone who is from Spiritual Butterfly Island, she definitely can't give up so easily. Definitely not. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 16. This matter feels a tad abnormal. Chapter 16. This matter feels a tad abnormal. Since sending one teacher to the hospital is no big deal, why not send two? Since I've already started something, I can't give up halfway. This English teacher named Smith will be sent to the hospital too. Determination flashed in Soft Feather's eyes, along with killing intent. Senior Song, is this teacher Smith of yours a foreigner? What does he look like? Soft Feather pretended to be curious as she asked. That fella? He's an old-fashioned man, his standard of teaching is good, though. Song Shuhang grinned as he said, then casually tapped on the name Professor Smith in the message. Soon after, the face of an old Englishman with a rigid face and flawlessly combed hair popped out. Jiangnan University School Network has a large information system, where as long as one has the required level of authority, all of the students' and teachers' information can be found. He looks so serious. Does he also stay at the teachers' apartments? Soft Feather nervously asked. Yep, that's right. Song Shuhang didn't think much of it as he nodded, and continued to key in the particulars of Soft Feather's identity card. He then registered and prepared to book the tickets. Soft Feather felt embarrassed as she smiled, and quietly walked back to the balcony. She once again put on the magical tool, desiring Thousand Miles Eyes, take it up a notch. Very soon, she located her target. TL, I've got you in my sights. Soldier 76? As of that moment, Professor Smith was out on a walk with his dog, by the school's river. Strange, is there a cold wind blowing? Suddenly, this rigid old Englishman tightened his collar. He felt a mysterious chill, and was baffled. Sorry. Just like Teacher Renchue, after I'm done with my matters, I will compensate you. Soft Feather again mumbled, then her hands rubbed the gold talisman. At the school's river? The rigid Englishman felt that his condition today wasn't good, and spontaneously decided to return to the hostel and rest. Let's go back. Perfect timing, I still have to prepare the contents for tomorrow's class. Having said that, Professor Smith pulled on the dog's leash. Woo, woo. At this time, his normally obedient pet dog suddenly howled, while its eyes turned completely red. Professor Smith felt a tremendous force coming from the dog's leash. The little puppy usually follows obediently with a gentle pull, yet today it fiercely pulled the leash. Professor Smith frowned, then used more force to pull on the dog's leash. Wang! The pet dog indeed followed the dog leash as it returned, but it returned pouncing with red eyes. His mouth ferociously opened, targeting the Englishman's skinny calf, and fiercely bit down on it. Oh, no! Help! Help me! At the riverside, Professor Smith's screams resounded. 15 minutes later. At the affiliated hospital close to Jiangnan University, in a room with 2 beds. Teacher Renchue was lying in bed, both his legs dangled high, showing an extremely shameful posture. His wife held their child, while she displayed an expression of not knowing whether to laugh or to cry. Right at this time, the ward's door was opened, and a rigid-looking Englishman was pushed into the ward. Who? Professor Smith? Aren't you supposed to substitute me for tomorrow afternoon's class? What happened? Teacher Renchue was surprised and questioned him. The Englishman spoke with clear Mandarin as he angrily said, I was bitten by SS, it's the dog I'm raising. The doctor said it bit too hard and hurt the bone. SS, I have to be hospitalized. When I'm discharged tomorrow I will slaughter it and turn it into stew. SS. It seemed like this rigid old Englishman was deeply hurt emotionally by the puppy he was raising. He felt that that dog was practically a white-eyed wolf that cannot be domesticated. It so fiercely bit onto him, and nearly wanted his old life. Stew, it must be stewed. TL, white-eyed wolf means ungrateful person. Teacher Renchue felt that the events of today were a tad abnormal. At the dormitory, Song Shuhang had already booked a train ticket for Soft Feather. At this time, the school's email network once again broadcasted a new message. Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculty's 19th Department 43rd Class students, please take note, as Professor Smith is injured and hospitalized, tomorrow afternoon's University English class is cancelled. Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculty's 19th Department 43rd Class students are to have a half-day break tomorrow afternoon. Please notify each other and make the appropriate preparations. Thank you. Likewise, this message was broadcasted 3 times in a row. Moreover, it was set to be rebroadcasted every half an hour, so as to cover up the previous message. Song Shuhang looked at this short message. In his mind, thousands of grass mud horses crazily galloped across. TL, grass mud horse is how the Chinese say F***K your mother on the internet. They sound almost the same. He turned around to look at Soft Feather, who had a flowery smile. He felt that the things that happened today are a tad abnormal. In the end, Shuhang still had to go along with Soft Feather to J City, because he no longer had a reason not to accompany Soft Feather for this trip. He truly didn't expect for the 2 professors to be sent to the hospital one after another. The probabilities of this were practically the same as winning the top prize in a lottery, yet he somehow managed to strike it. Due to the tragic encounters of the 2 professors, he had a whole day of free time tomorrow. Therefore, under Soft Feather's expectant gaze, he booked 2 train tickets to J City. The ticket number was the one right after Soft Feather's, therefore it was the seat immediately next to hers. Hey Soft Feather, for the 2 professors to be hospitalized in succession, do you think it is a coincidence? Shuhang unyieldingly stared at Soft Feather without blinking. These were eyes that could kill, using an oppressive air to force the enemy to confess. Under this fierce gaze, the one getting stared at would feel uneasy if they lied. The matters today were indeed excessively coincidental. A professor was sent to a hospital, while another professor substituted for the class, and in less than 3 minutes that professor too was abruptly sent to the hospital. What kind of bullshit storyline was this? Shuhang had long thought that he had passed the age of delusions and fantasies. Wuxia dreams, Xinxia dreams, and so on should have left his life a long time ago. But right now, he truly suspected that Soft Feather had some special abilities that had somehow caused the 2 professors to be hospitalized. When he opened his mind, he even thought towards the side of evil. This young lady is actually the young mistress of a terrifying dark organization. Like in the movies, she has a large bunch of people following her in secret, and ready to fulfill whatever she wishes. Then, because she wanted him to accompany her to J City, those covert subordinates ruthlessly sent the 2 professors to the hospital. Yet upon receiving this death stare from Song Shuhang, Soft Feather instead wore an unperturbed expression. How can that be? I am not the kind to do such things, right? Senior Song, you must believe R. TL, I'm just using R as a slang for I. Soft Feather is using a countryside slang in that sentence. Her innocent eyes were like a sacred lake that has never been tainted by anybody, but where did that art slang come from? Luckily, Shuhang didn't continue pursuing this topic. He just felt that all these events were too surprising, and casually asked, "We will set off at approximately 3:10 p.m. in the afternoon, and will be able to arrive at Jiangnan University Station at 3:30 p.m. Since we still have some time, why not you make use of it by looking up the internet for information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple? I'll go purchase lunch for us both. Is there anything you can't eat?" Song Shuhang asked. "Nope, I can eat anything," Soft Feather answered. At this moment, in order to conceal the uneasiness in her heart, even if her most hated green peppers appeared in front of her, she would dump them straight into her mouth. "Then you try your best to find Ghost Lamp Temple. I'll be back in a jiffy. If before that my roommates return, just tell them you're my friend." Song Shuhang waved his hand as he went out the door. After Song Shuhang left, Soft Feather guiltily cringed in front of the computer, then continued to research all of the temples in the Luoxin Street of J City, going through them one by one. June 2nd, at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Song Shuhang's 3 roommates had received the school's email notification, so they didn't return to the dormitory today. "Soft Feather, it's time to go," Song Shuhang called out. "Coming." Soft Feather stood up in front of the computer, crestfallen. She had researched for half a day, yet still didn't manage to find any information regarding Ghostlamp Temple. Meanwhile, it was unknown what happened to North River's loose practitioner, as he didn't come online for the whole afternoon. Song Shuhang put the stuff he bought from the foodie paradise into the fridge, then wrote a simple note for his 3 roommates, mentioning that there was food in the fridge for them to eat. For this trip he brought a sling bag. Inside, he placed his phone, power bank and charger. It was unknown how long this trip would take. If his phone runs out of battery, things could become extremely troublesome. Soft Feather pulled her large suitcase along while following Shuhang out. Shuhang saw how dejected she was, and asked, "Couldn't find Ghostlamp Temple?" "There's completely zero information. I don't even know if it has changed its name or has been torn down. Right now there is only the option of going to J-City and asking the locals there," Soft Feather said gloomily. "When the boat gets to the pierhead it will naturally straighten itself. Let's get there first." The two spoke as they walked, and took the elevator down. As it was 3 p.m. in the afternoon, the number of people in the dormitory gradually increased, and the boarding students from the various disciplines began returning to school. "Hang, where are you going to play?" Tilda approaching with Shuhang's classmates greeting while waving their hands. Soon, their attention was stolen by Soft Feather, who was behind Song Shuhang. "What a tall beauty! If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. A report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 17, Investigation for Ghostlamp Temple. Chapter 17, Investigation for Ghostlamp Temple. Sending my elder sister back, and having fun with her along the way. Our teachers are on leave, so we could play for one more day. Shuhang intentionally attached importance to the 2 words elder sister as he spoke. The relationship between him and Soft Feather must be presented clearly. Otherwise, with this bunch of gossipers, the entire faculty will have knowledge of Song Shuhang having a girlfriend who has a figure that is even more tyrannical than models. That way, Song Shuhang's innocence will be lost. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that he was in university to find a girlfriend and end the virginity of his body, and that would become difficult. Moreover, he also wanted to retaliate against the identity of a senior that Soft Feather gave him. He's only 18 years young, yet he was being called a senior over and over by a lady. Are you asking for a beating? It's your sister who, Shuhang? The guys from the same dormitory's eyes shone. In their hearts they all thought of the same thing. Shuhang, aren't we friends? If we could evolve once more from this term called friends, and become Shuhang's brother-in-law, that would be even better. We're leaving now, see you. Shuhang laughed out loud, and didn't give these fellas the chance to meet and greet. He waved goodbye, then charismatically left. Soft Feather smiled as she waved towards those guys too, and quickly followed Song Shuhang out of the male's dormitory. This brat Shuhang actually has such a beautiful sister. I've decided, from tomorrow onward Shuhang is my bro, I'll take good care of him. Someone joked. You want to be Shuhang's brother-in-law even more, right? Another person bantered. Be careful, for you might not just fail at becoming his elder brother-in-law, you might instead become Shuhang's little brother-in-law. I remember you have a pretty elder sister at home too, yo. TCH, if Shuhang's willing to introduce his sister to me, I'll immediately sell my sister to him. I'll even sell one and give another for free. The guys joked about as they returned to the dormitory. After all, she may be stunning, but which modern person hasn't experienced a baptism of beauties on the internet? Who would still have the pure heart for love at first sight? Check-in is at 3:30 p.m., while the train leaves at 4 p.m. Soft Feather took the window seat, while Song Shuhang sat beside her. To be honest, when he got onto the train with Soft Feather, Song Shuhang suddenly thought of the few modern genre novels he read recently. In those, whenever the male lead goes out with the female lead, it doesn't matter whether it's driving a sports car, taking the metro subway, sitting the bus, or even riding a bicycle, there would always be a mean actor backstage that takes fancy to the beauty of the female lead, and would come up to provoke them. Possessing supreme skills, the male lead will naturally be in the limelight, and will deal with the mean actor in various harsh ways. Then the mean actor will take off, with hatred in his heart. Without the guts to openly deal with the male lead, he secretly prepares various evil schemes. Then there will be all kinds of enmity and retaliation. Xu Hang resigned himself to the fact that he wasn't like those male leads. However, the beauty of Soft Feather beside him shouldn't be beneath those female leads in the modern novels. Therefore, Song Shuhang thought, will there be some kick-ass dude that appears wanting to know a beauty, who will then provoke him in various ways? When that happens, should he kill that person to prevent future troubles? Or should he just beat him till he's half dead? It's a pity that novels are just novels. In reality, perhaps there are those rampant and brainless mean actors, but there are too few. They are as rare as giant pandas, and aren't easy to meet. On the slow 2-hour train ride, there simply wasn't a single person who came to provoke Xu Hang, and nobody who tried to approach Soft Feather. This made Xu Hang feel a little disappointed. Half an hour through the journey, Soft Feather was sleepy, and fell asleep in the seat. Not long later, her body leaned to the side, and her head rested on Xu Hang's shoulder. Song Shuhang could only relax his shoulders to let the lady sleep more comfortably. The 2 hours of the train journey passed quickly. Ding 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 tilde tilde hello travelers, the train has arrived at Black Elephant Station, please do not forget your belongings, and exit from the train from the doors on the right. When alighting, please mind the gap. We've arrived. Song Shuhang lightly patted Soft Feather. In a daze, Soft Feather opened her eyes. While rubbing her eyes, there was clear saliva flowing from the corner of her mouth. Is it morning? Mo, he actually felt Mo from a girl who looked older than him. The train has reached the station, let's quickly get off. Song Shuhang pulled her hand and dragged along the heavy suitcase out of the train's carriage. Only after the train whistled away did Soft Feather truly wake up. Senior, what time is it? It's 6:07 p.m. in the evening, we're already at J City's Black Elephant Station. When we get out we can directly take a taxi to Luoxin Street, then we'll first find a place to stay there. Song Shuhang answered. All right, I'll follow Senior's arrangements. Soft Feather nodded. This is what she likes the most. Having someone plan where to eat, drink and stay for her, and all she needs to do is to follow the arrangements. She doesn't even need to work her brain. This feeling was true happiness. There was a taxi stand at Black Elephant Station, and there were many taxis awaiting customers. Hey man, where to? A taxi stopped beside Song Shuhang and Soft Feather. Luoxin Street. Song Shuhang opened the door to the front passenger seat as he answered. J City's Luoxin Street? Soft Feather added on, this lady was traumatized by Jiangnan region's Luoxin Street. The taxi driver was first stunned, then casually smiled, ha ha, you're an amusing lady. Soft Feather knew she made a joke out of herself, and blushed. J City's Luoxin Street was very close to the Black Elephant train station, and was a mere 10-minute car journey. After the two got off the taxi, using the phone's GPS, they found a hotel to temporarily stay at. As the two of them weren't husband and wife, there wasn't even a need to think of something romantic like sharing a room. Even if Song Shuhang wanted to, and Soft Feather doesn't reject, the hotel's boss might not agree. In this day and age, things are too strict. If something bad happens, the hotel has to bear a part of the responsibility. After dinner, taking advantage of the fact that it was still relatively bright, the two prepared to stroll around Luoxin Street to look for Ghost Lamp Temple. Soft Feather had to first deposit her suitcase into the room. Shuhang didn't have such a need, so he waited by the front desk after receiving the card. There weren't many guests today, so the receptionist lady wasn't busy. Song Shuhang seized this opportunity to ask, excuse me, I would like to ask if there's a place called Ghost Lamp Temple in Luoxin Street? The receptionist lady pondered for a while, then shook her head, my apologies mister, there are quite a number of temples in Luoxin Street, but I've never heard of Ghost Lamp Temple. For a temple with such a unique name, if it existed there was no way she would have never heard of it before. Then are there similarly named temples? Perhaps it might not be called Ghost Lamp Temple, it might be called Ghost Ascending Temple, Scholar Lamp Temple, Returning Seat Temple, anything is possible. Shuhang continued asking. TL, all of these sound similar to Ghost Lamp Temple in Chinese. Right now the internet is so well developed, yet a trace of a clue to the temple cannot even be found. Perhaps the name was something else entirely. That sounds similar. The receptionist lady conscientiously thought for a long time, then once again shook her head. Sorry, I'm afraid I can't help you. Perhaps it's a temple from a long time ago. If Mr. truly wants to find it, you may attempt asking the elderly in Luoxin Street. Thank you, said Song Shuhang while nodding. As they spoke, Softfeather already came out of her room. Where are we going to next? She asked. Let's randomly stroll around. Our primary aim is to look for groups of elderly chatting idly, and see if we can get some information from them. While the two chatted, they left the hotel. Right as the two left the hotel, in the hotel's lounge, a lady with a grave expression took out her phone. Altar Master, I'm at Luoxin Glory Hotel and saw someone looking for information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. One man and one woman, they look approximately 20 years old or so. Has what should have come finally arrived? How strong are they? On the line, a cold and indifferent voice sounded. The woman appears to be very strong, while the man looks like an ordinary person. However, the woman treats him with incredible respect, and privately addresses him as her senior. Answered the lady. How strong? That voice remained unflustered and cold. Your subordinate can't make it out at all, and could only feel that she's very strong. I understand. Continue monitoring their movements, do not let them discover you. I will attempt to probe their limits. In addition, tell the members at the other monitoring points to keep their guards up. We can't say for sure that these two are the only ones looking for Ghost Lamp Temple. Affirmative. The lady closed her phone and quickly walked out of the hotel, walking in the direction Song Shuhang and Softfeather had left. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. A report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 18, Meeting Familiar Faces in Another Place. Chapter 18, Meeting Familiar Faces in Another Place. A man covered the phone on the other end of the call. His face was cold and remote, but the hand grasping the phone shook slightly. It had been 60 years. He also knew that the original owner of the Ghost Lamp Temple had a domineering strength and wouldn't die that easily. However, it had been 60 years. He felt that perhaps the original owner of the Ghost Lamp Temple no longer cared about this area. So, he began to make his preparations and surreptitiously tried to break through the seal on the sides of the Ghost Lamp Temple to obtain what was inside. He hadn't thought that someone would still come looking for it in the end. Damn it! The man ground his teeth. After they had walked out from the hotel, Shuhang and Softfeather started aimlessly shopping around the Luoxin streets. They didn't run into any groups of chit-chatting elders, but ran into something far more interesting, 5 drunk perverts. He didn't run into the circumstances of femme fatale on the train, but he hadn't thought that after arriving on the Luoxin streets, he'd bump into the plot line of a bunch of drunk perverts forming lascivious intentions after seeing a pretty girl. It was a sparsely populated small alleyway where the 5 drunks swayed as they blocked Song Shuhang and Softfeather's way. 5 pairs of eyes were bloodshot as they stared greedily at Softfeather. Alcohol could bolster a hero's courage and does the same for petty characters. None of the acts that people could commit whilst under the influence were worth goggling about. They could do anything from kissing female pigs, biting dogs, and slugging it out with each other. The 5 drunks had never seen such a beautiful lass in their lives. They couldn't move their eyes away after seeing Softfeather. Hot damn! This woman is as beautiful as a fairy. If I can have a round with her, I'm down even if I lose 10 years of my life. These were their thoughts, and so they surrounded Softfeather and Song Shuhang, using their inebriation as an excuse. What were they afraid of? In the worst case, they would just spend a few years in jail. This was the pathetic part of not understanding the law. They'd only vaguely heard people mention it in passing boasts that forcing themselves on girls would result in a few years in jail. Did they think that the times now were still those of a few years ago, or that this was India? These days, forcing themselves on a girl meant a life sentence. If the situation was a bit worse off, it'd mean a bullet to the head. Song Shuhang didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he saw this scene. He loosened up his joints and prepared to fight. His fighting abilities weren't bad, he could easily take 3 at a time usually, not to mention these 5 skinny drunkards in front of him. It was precisely because of this that the thugs around school didn't bother him. He could take on 10 of these kinds of opponents. Just as Song Shuhang was about to demonstrate his punches and kicks, a breeze whistled past his ears. He then saw a pair of slender legs kick out repeatedly as fast as lightning. When those legs kicked in the air, it was as if butterflies were flitting through the shrubbery. It posed a wonderfully beautiful sight. Not only did it look pretty, its power was even more frightening. When the pair of legs moved through the air, even the snaps like a whip cracking through air were emitted. The 5 drunkards released shrill yells and flew out backwards, spasming crazily on the ground and vomiting everywhere, falling unconscious after a short while. Face planting onto the ground? How long did it take? A second? Or even shorter? Song Shuhang turned his head back and saw Softfeather retract her long legs. That was damned awesome, all right. Compared to Softfeather, his punches and kicks were seriously child's play. Looking at the unconscious drunks, Shuhang suddenly recalled the youths who had collectively lost consciousness outside the school. And he was only hypothesizing here, with the battle strength that Softfeather had just demonstrated, it seemed that she could indeed have sent those 7, 8, or 10 thugs kissing the ground in a short amount of time that day. However, Softfeather had been on the plane then. Could the Su Clan's Usher Liu in the chat group really have done it? Could it be that those within the chat group all had off-the-charts battle strength? Are they dead? Song Shuhang was a bit worried. Don't worry, senior, I know the proper limits. They'll be out for 2 days at most before waking up. This timing is perfect, as not eating or drinking for 3 days easily results in problems. Softfeather answered. These answers gave Song Shuhang a feeling of sudden enlightenment. Those thugs who still remained in their coma, was it because the deadline of 2 days had yet to arrive? Let's go, senior. Softfeather giggled. Song Shuhang nodded his head stiffly due to his mind being a chaotic mess. He left the alleyway with Softfeather. After Shuhang and Softfeather had been gone for quite a while, a man strode over with steady steps from a corner behind the alleyway, making his way to the 5 drunkards. Drunkards are indeed too weak. They couldn't even make the 2 bring their true strength to bear. The man sighed. A figure clothed in black knelt on the ground behind the man, spoke in a low voice. Altar Master, do you need us to send a few people to test them? No need. These 5 drunkards were only ordinary people. This is why the pair had held back when they made their moves. If our people made an appearance, they may not act with mercy. The Altar Master spoke quietly. Each of his underlings had been cultivated with care and effort. Even training an ordinary rookie would require more than 1 million yuan. They weren't expendable goods that he would easily dispose without thought. The girl had made a move to teach these 5 drunks a lesson just now. The level of her strength had been subtly discernible. The legs audibly whipping through air and easy control over her power. This wasn't something that someone of the first-rank mortal ascension level could do. Their opponent was someone who had coalesced true chi. This wasn't a level of existence that his underlings could contend against. Besides, there was another senior beside the girl with an unfathomable depth that even he couldn't probe. These opponents could easily use their variety of skills to destroy the elites that he'd spent a great deal of money to train. Even if he had a lot of underlings, it wouldn't do to waste them like this. To be honest, he had been a bit frightened. We can only bide our time and wait for the right moment. The Altar Master murmured to himself. He'd already lost most of his hope towards attaining the treasure within the Ghost Lamp Temple, he just wasn't quite willing to call it quits yet. Softfeather and Song Shuhang ambled around Luoxin Street for another half-day, meeting up with an elder that was 50-some years old, but no one knew of the Ghost Lamp Temple. Song Shuhang felt his head ache. He hadn't thought that even looking for a temple would be this much of a hassle. Softfeather, are you sure that the Ghost Lamp Temple is within the Luoxin Street of J City? It is absolutely here, and I haven't remembered the name incorrectly either. Ghost as in ghosts and monsters, lamp as in what used to light the way. Soft Feather spoke resolutely. My mother brought me here when she was carrying me, but I could only use father's arts to observe the outside world with my consciousness. All I remember is the ghost lamp temple plaque made from wood. Song Shuhang could understand the first half of her words, but didn't know where she'd traveled off to with the second part. His thoughts and hers were obviously in different dimensions. Then were there any places of interest nearby? The top of a mountain perhaps? Halfway up a mountain? Or a small creek maybe? Shuhang asked. Not a mountain, it should have been flat ground. I don't really remember anything else. Soft Feather said with some embarrassment. Does Senior North River happen to have any news? Soft Feather fished out her cell phone to take a look and said with joy, Senior North River is online. Within the 9 provinces, 1 chat group. North River Loose Practitioner, Soft Feather, have you already found the Ghost Lamp Temple? Not yet. Does Senior have any news? Soft Feather entered the message happily. Apologies, I asked some comrades around here, but all the people I know are on the eastern side of Huaxia. No one knows anything about the J-City area. North River Loose Practitioner sent a ruefully smiling emoticon, and a thorny fellow has just arrived and is still clinging onto me. I'm afraid I won't be of much help from now on. No worries, Senior, please take care of your business. Soft Feather smiled and responded. When Shuhang saw these messages, he immediately felt that this North River Loose Practitioner was a man who couldn't be relied on. He was online every second of the day when he wasn't needed, but something would draw his attention away as soon as he was needed. Senior Song, we're on our own. Soft Feather formed a fist and made a fighting gesture. So cute and girly. For reasons unknown to him, Song Shuhang somehow felt that this woman who looked older than him looked so cute and girly. A blinding row of headlights lit up the street as they were talking. A row of brightly colored motorcycles revved their engines and charged towards Shuhang. It was apparent from the loud sound of their engines that these bikes had all been modified. Bikers? What age is this? Song Shuhang murmured to himself and pulled Soft Feather towards the side of the street. Soft Feather's eyes lit up when she heard the words, bikers. Should we finish them off? Eh? Song Shuhang was perplexed. Shouldn't bikers all be in jail? Knock them out and send them to jail. Soft Feather rubbed her fists and wiped her palms, eager for action. Girl, you make a lot of sense. I actually have no words for you. However, Soft Feather didn't make a move in the end. When the 7 or 8 bikes passed by Shuhang and Soft Feather, one of them braked suddenly and made a beautiful U-turn, coming to a stop next to Shuhang. Opening the visor of the motorcycle's helmet, a handsome face with dashing eyebrows and bright eyes was revealed. Shuhang! What are you doing here, kid? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 19, Ghost Lamp Temple 50 years ago. Chapter 19, Ghost Lamp Temple 50 years ago. Song Shuhang stared blankly at first, until he recognized who the man riding the bike was. He immediately became delighted. Bo Zai? Why is it you? What are you doing here? This good-looking boy was one of his 3 classmates, Bo Zai. Bo Zai had a handsome appearance and an entirely uncharacteristically garbage name. His surname was Lin, so his full name was Lin Tubo. Bo Zai has hated this name for more than 10 years, he felt that this name was lame to the point of being garbage. Because of this name, he and his father have fought for many years. There was even a time where he brought his passport and ID card to the related department to change his name. In the end, when his father found out, he dragged him home and gave him a good beating. Therefore, whenever Bo Zai met someone, he would ask them to call him Bo, Little Bo or Bo Zai. In reality, in Shuhang's point of view, Bo's name could still be considered a tolerable one. Compared to others like Wang Erden, Idiot Wang, and Liu Gosheng, leftover Dog's Hit, his name was certainly much better. Don't think of names like Dog's Hit as merely a joke. In Shuhang's old home, there was someone who bore that name. However, that guy's surname was Wang, so he was called Wang Gosheng, dog's hit. All along, Wang Gosheng had thought that he was actually not related to his father by blood. He even thought that his father bore a grudge against him. Otherwise, how could he possibly have been given such a name? To get back onto topic, Xu Hang had never thought that he would meet Bo Zai here. My grandpa lives in J City. This week, my whole family is over at my grandpa's place. But what about you? Why are you running around in J City? Bo Zai was speaking when he suddenly saw the long-legged beauty standing beside Xu Hang. Instantly, he clapped his left palm with his right fist. He understood now. It seems like this fella, Xu Hang, brought his girl here to play. TSK, Xu Hang, you don't seem like it, but your introverted exterior actually hides such a playboy? There was no word at all of you hooking up with such a gorgeous beauty. Next time, you definitely have to treat me to a meal. Bo Zai laughed nastily. Facing Bo Zai's teasing, Song Shuhang was indifferent. Without any telltale signs of being affected, he said, "Don't try to tease blindly. If she's really my girlfriend, I would burn incense to thank the heavens. This is my elder sister, Soft Feather. She wanted to come to J City to look for a place called Ghost Lamp Temple, but doesn't know the way, which is why I'm accompanying her here." "Really?" Tu Bo gazed intently at Xu Hang. Xu Hang shrugged. Beside him, Soft Feather smiled sweetly. "Heh, fine. If you say she's your sister, then she's your sister." Tu Bo was not a gossip monger. "Earlier you said you were looking for some temple? Have you found it?" Song Shuhang shook his head. "We've searched online for a long time, but couldn't find anything, which is why we came down here to Luoxin Street to see if anybody knows." However, even the hotel receptionist had never heard of Ghost Lamp Temple. "We don't even know if it changed its name or has been torn down, so we intend to find and ask some elderly locals. Perhaps there might be clues by doing so. If that's the case, why don't you visit my place? We could ask my grandpa and see. My grandpa is a proper born and bred J City resident. Perhaps he'll know of that ghost something temple you're looking for." TSK, what a miserable name. A temple with that kind of name definitely won't many visitors. It's probably already closed down. Tu Bo clicked his tongue. He had vehement hatred for bad names. Xu Hang's heart was gleeful, but he had to ask, "Will we be disturbing your family's vacation?" "Rest assured, my grandpa is great with guests. As for my father, he strongly wants me to study with other students instead of doing random things. I'm already in college, yet he wants me to study all day. It's driving me crazy." Tu Bo chuckled as he said. Even though his words painted a depressing picture, their father and son relationship could be considered pretty good. The only problem was his father liked to beat people up. His father strongly believed that a wooden cane produces a well-educated child. His favorite phrase that he used to hang beside his mouth all the time was, "When it's raining, it's time to beat up the kids. There's nothing better to do anyway." This was quite a pain in Tu Bo's ass. In the end, Tu Bo asked, "Xu Hang, do you know how to ride a motorcycle?" "I do, but I don't have a license." Xu Hang replied. "It doesn't matter. At a remote place like this, who would go through the trouble of checking people's driving license?" Tu Bo laughed loudly, then turned around and called out, "Ah Tong, lend him your motorcycle for a while. You can ride with someone else for now." "Sure." A big and buff guy got off his bike and stopped it in front of Song Shuhang. "Thank you." Xu Hang smiled. Ah Tong charismatically waved his hand and rode pillion with one of his comrades. Within the blink of an eye, the large swarm of people had their bikes roaring as they rode into the distance with a loud rumble. Song Shuhang got onto the black motorcycle and got a feel of it. He turned the throttle a little and felt the body of the bike ferociously roar. "This fella has been modified?" Xu Hang braked and stopped the bike, smiling. "All of these guys' bikes have been personally modified by me. Their horsepower has been increased multiple times." Tu Bo smirked. He had forgotten that this fella is a tech otaku and skillful with his hands. Although it wasn't to the point of being able to single-handedly build a Gundam, he's still able to produce various interesting mechanical products. Soft Feather, get on the bike. Shu Hang turned around and called to Soft Feather. It was lucky that she had left her huge luggage back at the hotel. Otherwise, how would they bring it along on such a small bike? Soft Feather straddled onto the bike, sitting behind Shu Hang. Her soft breasts pressed onto Shu Hang's back, causing Soft Feather to feel soft in the legs. In front of them, Tubo laughed. Follow me. Amidst the rumbling of the engines, two bikes shot into the distance one after the other. Tubo's grandpa is a very modern old man, and he also liked to tinker with things like engines. This hobby of Tubo's seems to have been inherited from his grandpa. Because he is very modern, he easily gets along with young people. Ghost Lamp Temple? You mean there are still youngsters who know of that place? Tubo's grandpa laughed heartily. When Shu Hang heard him say that, he knew that something was definitely up. Immediately, he asked, Yi, do you know where the Ghost Lamp Temple is? Yi was what the residents of Jiangnan region, J-City and the surrounding area like to call grandfathers and elders of that age. Nowadays not many people know of that place, it's from over 60 years ago. Most of those who know of it has entered a coffin, which is why most of you younglings don't know of it. Tubo's grandpa brought everybody to the courtyard, and pointed towards a place in the east saying, keep going east, and you'll find a forest around 700 meters in. After you enter it, you will find a large tomb, that is where Ghost Lamp Temple originally was. Old tomb? Ghost Lamp Temple is a tomb? Shu Hang unconsciously asked a silly question. Ghost Lamp Temple has been destroyed? Soft Feather's eyes widened as she caught the main gist. Indeed. More than 60 years ago, it was bulldozed by some guy who constructed a giant tomb for himself. Tubo's grandpa replied. So it was something that happened 60 years ago. At that time, not even televisions were widespread yet. It wasn't like the current internet age where any tiny matter could be blown so out of proportion that everyone has heard of it. Which is why there was simply no news regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. Only some of the elderly living in the local area knew what happened that year, so there weren't many young people who knew about it. But as far as I know, Ghost Lamp Temple is private property, isn't it? Many years ago, didn't someone already purchase it? Soft Feather raised a doubt. You know quite a lot, little lady. Tubo's grandpa reminisced, in reality. At that time Ghost Lamp Temple's land belonged to Trickster Huang, also known as tomb owner Huang Dajun. More than 60 years ago, he sold that Ghost Lamp Temple to a foreigner. But even before he sold it, he had already prepared to convert the Ghost Lamp Temple into a tomb. It just so happened that this foreigner came and offered to buy the temple. Therefore, Huang Dajun took advantage of this and sold the Ghost Lamp Temple to him. However, several years later, when he saw that the foreigner never returned again, he had no qualms about building his own tomb on top of the Ghost Lamp Temple. So shameless? Said Song Shu Hang. Tubo's grandpa sighed then said, the fella Trickster Huang is indeed shameless, the number of foreigners who were cheated by him in those years were many. There's nothing that can be done about it, those foreigners were all silly and rich. Song Shu Hang quietly glanced at Soft Feather, he was guessing that the one who bought Ghost Lamp Temple was very possibly Soft Feather's elder. However, there wasn't an expression of anger on Soft Feather's face. There was only a sigh, and she said, then, that guy named Trickster Huang should already be dead, right? These words gave people chills. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 20, Spirit Ghost. Chapter 20, Spirit Ghost. Little girl, how do you know of this? Tubo's grandpa asked curiously. Indeed, since the time that Trickster Huang constructed the tomb, 7 days after he hung up the tombstone, he died. And then, one after another, within the span of a year, all of the 10+ members of his family were wiped out. Everyone in the district was saying that there was something supernatural about it. They say that Trickster Huang, that bastard, built a huge tomb and doomed his entire family. Because that Ghost Lamp Temple contains ghosts that are about to reach maturity, a discerning person bought the temple and laid down a seal so as to prevent the ghosts and spirits from harming humans. But someone actually destroyed the temple to build a tomb on the land. That's virtually leaping on the earth god's head to cause trouble, i.e. deliberately angering a far greater power. By following the energy of the tombstone, the spirits were able to track down the owner of the tomb and his family members, and consume their life energy. For the entire family to die can be considered fortunate, as long as 9 generations after him are spared, he's lucky. Softfeather replied. These pieces of information were not considered secrets to ordinary people, so she was able to say them. Tubo's grandpa fell into a long silence. He affixed his gaze on Softfeather before calling out 2 words, blind superstition. Youngster, believe in science, knowledge is power. Don't learn from those ghostly superstitions. Tubo's grandpa was undeniably a modern-minded old man. PFFFT, Shu Hang could not help but laugh out loud. But after he laughed, a chill ran through his heart. Was it really something as simple as just superstition? Could there really be such a coincidence? Softfeather's face instantly turned red from embarrassment. Sometimes she was really thin-skinned. It was a good thing that Tubo's grandpa didn't nitpick too much about this topic. He was a very conversational old man and possessed all kinds of knowledge from all around the world. Shu Hang and Softfeather rested at Tubo's grandpa's home until 9 o'clock that night, both hosts and the guests thoroughly enjoying themselves. After borrowing a bike from Tubo, Shu Hang and Softfeather returned to the hotel. Rest early. Shu Hang felt that after everything that had transpired in this day, both his body and mind were exhausted. After bidding Softfeather goodbye, he entered his room to rest. Softfeather sweetly smiled and waved. Senior, wake up! Wake up! In the midst of his dreams, Shu Hang felt as though his chest was being rather suffocated, before a small, icy hand patted his face. Huh? Let me sleep a bit more. I'm sleepy. Song Shu Hang waved his hand vigorously, swatting away the thing on his face. Senior, wake up now. It's almost time. Those 2 dainty hands rubbed his face strenuously. The hands were icy cold, and very comfortable as they pressed against his face. Shu Hang, who had been sleeping soundly, had no choice but to blearily open his eyes. Then, he realized that there was an unsurpassed beauty sitting on his chest in a very sexual manner. Big breasts, long slender legs, black long hair that reached her waist, the soft sensation of a tight as pressed against his chest, it was Softfeather. The proverb goes, what you think about during the day, you will dream about at night. During the day, he had spent all his time with this beauty, Softfeather, so it wasn't strange at all that he would dream about her at night in such shady scenarios. Hence, Song Shu Hang smiled stupidly before falling asleep again. Senior, wake up! Softfeather pinched Shu Hang's cheeks with both hands, rubbing them with force. Damn it, this isn't a dream. In the middle of the night, Softfeather had crawled into his bed. More importantly, only he possessed his room key. How had Softfeather entered the room? This was the 23rd floor. He glanced at the time. It was 11 o'clock and approaching midnight. Girl, feeling your way into my bed in the middle of the night, this could very easily mislead people. What's up? Song Shu Hang tried his hardest to calm his demeanor and asked. Let's go to the Ghost Lamp Temple, Softfeather replied. Midnight is when it's easiest to find ghosts. What? Ghosts? Girl, you've traveled thousands of miles to J City just to catch those random ghosts. What kind of crap is this? He had thought that Softfeather wanted to find the Ghost Lamp Temple because of some important thing. He had never even imagined that someone could use catching ghosts as an excuse to rush thousands of miles to reach J City. With this super beauty Softfeather sitting on top of him, he had long since experienced a reaction. Was this girl unafraid that his predatory instincts would take over him? Maybe Softfeather was really not afraid. With her firepower, she was able to massacre 5 drunkards with a single whip of her leg. If Song Shu Hang gave in to his predatory nature, that would surely result in a tragedy. Using a single palm, Softfeather leapt off his body with a flawless mid-air tumble. She landed lightly beside his bed without making even the slightest sound. Shu Hang sat up helplessly. he changed his clothes in the washroom and wiped his face to freshen up. At any rate, he had already accompanied her to J City. Right now, he might as well sacrifice his life to escort her throughout her insanity. "Shall we ride the bike?" Shu Hang asked. "Yes." Soft Feather nodded as she pulled her huge suitcase along. Song Shu Hang said, "Then, won't bringing such a large suitcase with you be a problem?" With a wave of her dainty hand, Soft Feather raised the suitcase and put it on top of her head as if it was as light as a feather. "It'll be no problem at all, it doesn't take up any space." Song Shu Hang felt his knees growing rather weak. Luckily, he hadn't given in to his predatory instincts. Otherwise, tomorrow, perhaps the man called Song Shu Hang would be nothing but a corpse encased in a horse-skin body bag. The roars of the bike disturbed the dreams of others in this late night. Song Shu Hang resolutely accelerated, speedily leaving the hotel district. Following the direction Tubo's grandpa pointed towards, the pair quickly found that forest. It wasn't hard to find at all, but because this was a tomb, it was also the reason why nobody knew that this was where Ghost Lamp Temple was. The bike couldn't go on further ahead, and further progress had to be made on foot. "Do you need my help?" Shu Hang asked. "Please be at ease, Senior, a mere spirit ghost can't harm me. I can deal with them very quickly. Senior, you just need to keep a lookout for a while." Soft Feather happily laughed. While they spoke, the two had arrived where Huang Dajin and family were buried. The huge chair-shaped tomb was a design that was very popular 60 years ago. It was unknown whether Huang Dajin had known his whole family was going to die that year, for the constructed tomb was huge, and just enough to fit in the families for generations. There were 14 people that were buried here. As it was late night, the cemetery seemed a little eerie. Song Shu Hang couldn't help but hug onto his coat and recited in his heart, "It can't be that we will really meet ghosts, right?" On the other hand, Soft Feather had already begun taking action. The huge suitcase of hers opened, and there was a layer of light radiating from it. Song Shu Hang could see layers of jade sheets. There was over 100 of them. There was also a purplish gold bell, which seemed like copper yet wasn't copper, and seemed like gold yet wasn't gold, but it gave off a feeling like it was very expensive. Phew! Soft Feather lightly released a breath. Her head full of black hair swayed without any nearby wind, looking brave and heroic. Afterwards, Soft Feather began taking out some silver metal rods, one after another, surrounding the entire whole tomb. These silver rods also seemed extremely expensive. Then, she took out a stack of talisman paper that was bound together with a cord, and wrapped them over a whole circle of the silver metal rods. But she still wasn't done. She took out various types of powder and liquor and put it by the side of the tomb. It was unknown what the powder actually was, while the liquor had a dull light to it, appearing to be something good. Song Shu Hang found a clean stone to sit on, and watched Soft Feather working by the side of the tomb. Unwittingly, sleepiness filled him, and he felt his vision turn hazy. An unknown amount of time later. When Song Shu Hang once again opened his eyes in a daze, he saw Soft Feather gracefully dancing at the tomb. Dancing at a tomb late at night, this lady's hobby is truly special. Ooh? Beside the lady, there seemed to be 2 green lights flickering, like it was accompanying Soft Feather in the dance. It looked very nice. The only pity was that this place wasn't beautiful. The tomb made this aesthetically beautiful scene seem weird. For such a beautiful scene, it should be recorded and kept. Shu Hang slipped his hand into his pocket to take out his phone. It must be said that Song Shu Hang was truly daring. If ordinary people saw this scene, their first reaction should be fright and pee. Yet this guy instead wanted to record this scene. As he was still in a dazed state, his stiff fingers carelessly let the phone fall out of his pocket and onto the floor. The light from his cell phone's display vaguely illuminated something strange by his feet. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know a report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible.